Is there a listener who would disagree with me?
Yeah,
I'm thinking not.
There you go.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Did you just flip me off?
No.
Yes, you did. You just flipped me the bird. Now, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't shape up, okay, and get your head straight, there, you just flipped me off again.
107.5, The Game.
Well, welcome in the final day of hopefully your work week, or maybe just the middle of your work week. I don't know what a Friday is for you. For Jen and I, it's the final day of the work week, and we get ready for another football Saturday, what should be one of the best football Saturdays of the college football season. We'll get you ready for that here this morning, and we'll do it with our host of, I guess you'd say guest, but they're major parts of the program. Patrick Perret set to join us around 7 a.m. and give his take on, there's a lot of NFL news out there, and we'll get into that. We'll also get his take on South Carolina's victory over Kentucky last week and look ahead to the weekend that will be in college football. We'll also have Tony Annan hop on the old telephone. He will not be in studio this morning. They'll be traveling. I'm trying to figure out how to word this properly. They're training this morning, and they are traveling to Myrtle Beach early this morning after training to take on Coastal Carolina. So Tony Annan, instead of hopping in studio with us, will hop on his cellular or his mobile telephone. I think that's right. Is mobile telephone a thing? Is that right? Or is it because I say mobile because I believe that's what the English use.
We'll find out for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that on an episode of Friends one time.
Exactly.
Mobile. So, yeah, he'll call in, and then Chris Dearing will join us for the CNT high school highlights as he'll give us the rundown of this weekend's schedule on the high school side of things. So we got a busy morning in front of us, plenty to get to, an entertaining night in multiple ways. You had the college game, Baylor and West Virginia, which turned out to be a really fun, entertaining game. 43-40, the final, and that one came down to the final seconds and a final field goal there from the Mountaineers. So you had the entertaining, exhilarating game, and then you had the snooze fest that was the Patrick Perrets versus the Jen Jensens, or better known as the Washington Commanders, the 1-4 Washington Commanders. Although they win last night, they're 2-4 versus the Chicago Bears, who were 2-3, who are now 2-4. A 12-7 pillow fight takes place in Chicago, and the Commanders come out on top. We'll let Patrick dance around and cheer when he arrives on the phone line to deal with Jen this morning, as that was certainly a snoozer of a game. He had some Major League Baseball in between. Not a bad night of Major League Baseball. Again, the Seattle Mariners, I guess I have a small place in my heart for them because of Ken Griffey Jr. and watching them as I was growing up. They're taking on the Houston Astros, and the Astros once again are able to rally and pick off the Mariners and take a 2-0 lead in that series. The Guardians and the Yankees was postponed last night because of inclement weather. They will actually have a makeup at 1:07 today. So we also get a full day of Major League Baseball. The Guardians and Yankees at 1 o'clock, the Braves and at the Phillies this afternoon at 4:30, and tonight the Dodgers and the Padres. So should be a really, really fun weekend because, as I mentioned, you've got your football schedule, and we'll get into that coming up in the next segment. It should be a lot of fun for this weekend, especially for South Carolina fans, Florida Clemson fans. If you're not traveling down to Tallahassee and you're taking in football all morning or all day tomorrow and you're just hanging out, it should be a really, really entertaining day, and we'll get into that. But throw in some Major League Baseball playoffs, games that really, really matter, win or go home, and you start to have the makings of a fantastic, absolutely fantastic weekend. I believe weather-wise, too, it is supposed to be absolutely gorgeous. The fair is in town. You can get out and go enjoy some corn dogs or some fisk fries or a turkey leg, or we always do that kind of. I don't know what the specialty fried food is. Let's see here if we can locate it here. The specialty. Jen, have you seen what the specialty fried food is this year? Are we frying, I don't know, chipmunks? What are we frying up this year? Fried donuts with some kind of fried hamburger with fried eggs. What is it?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll dig into that here.
I can look
Yeah.
things up if,
Yeah,
computer
so
would boot up.
I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. A lot more difficult than you would be led to believe. But yeah, I'm sure some fried food will be had this weekend. As I look, the first thing I see at the website of the South Carolina State Fair is a pig flying. That's a great way to start it. So 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to be a part of the program. As always, you can go to our live stream. Several people weighing in. Robin saying full body day. She works out each and every morning while listening to the program. You can do whatever you want. You can also join us on the live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of the program. Larry saying the funnel cake. The funnel cake is the item du jour. I don't know if it's fried. Let's see. I'm looking now. Here it is, Jen. We've got the funnel cake, as Larry brings up. This year there is a cookies and cream topped funnel cake and elephant ear. Cookies and cream. Let's see. There is here we go. This is the fried item of the year. The fried moon pie. Says
That's what it is.
deep fried moon pie will put you over the moon. These graham cracker and marshmallow filled moon pies made especially for the South Carolina State Fair will be freshly fried and delicious. Ooh, they're also available in chocolate and banana. So there you go. So there is that for you. Also, if you are so inclined, they have the steak poutine sundae. Fresh cut fries layered with fresh cheese curds covered in hot gravy and topped with sirloin steak to make the ultimate cheesesteak.
I'd be okay with that without the steak.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So there's your specialty items. For the state fair. I've yet to look at it until just now, and I think I just had a mild heart attack just reading about the steak poutine sundae, the elephant ear or funnel. Elephant ears and funnel cakes are the same thing, right?
No, isn't it the elephant ear is completely like a flat, like a disc, but the funnel cake isn't that more kind of looks like a waffle more
Yeah, but
so.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they're the same thing, right?
Uh,
They're doughy and they have most of the time powdered sugar on them. Am I wrong?
yeah, or you could put like fruit or something on them. But yeah, as far as design, I don't know. Let's get a hold of Mike Leach. I bet he has an assessment
true.
on this.
This is true. He's got nothing to do this weekend. No football game there is important. They're playing Kentucky. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can weigh in this morning, whether it's your state fair food creation. Again, deep fried moon pies is the fried item of du jour this year, along with the cookies and cream topped funnel cake and elephant ear. And again, the steak poutine sundae from Deanna's Food Concession. So if you want to get out to the fair, should be a great weekend to go and do that. If you want to watch college football, it should be an absolutely phenomenal weekend to do that. We'll go through the schedule here in the next segment. Patrick Perret set to join us at 7 a.m. this morning. Head soccer coach Tony Annan will join us around 7:15, time permitting and training permitting. I don't think he wants us listening to him training the players, so he'll join us pre-training this morning. So we'll catch up with him. He'll call in. And Chris Dearing for the CNT Foundation's high school schedule of the week. We'll get into that a little bit this morning as well. So a lot to do. Again, if you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in via the text line or via the Love Chevy phone lines. Richard is probably right there with Jen this morning, or the embarrassment has become so much that Jen just shrugs it off. Richard says, embarrassed to be a Chicago Bears fan this morning. This is ridiculous.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
That the cable show will get my full opinion, but yeah, when you're in the middle of the second quarter and there's not even a score.
Yeah, the under of 38, a very solid wager last night if you wanted to take that one and feel very good about it. 803-404-6100. Again, you can go and hop on our live stream. DC, Larry, Trey, Anthony, Robin, all up and at it with us this morning, being a part of the program. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game. click join, subscribe, weigh in on the chat room, or maybe we'll have more of a food discussion there. No South Carolina football game. There is a Clemson football game, but we'll get into that whole schedule coming up next. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Jen Jensen. It is the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
There are a lot more options for worst tire than best tire, probably.
I have an answer that I hope none of you pick.
Ooh.
As soon as I teased that going into the last break, we immediately got a couple of texts, all with the exact same name. So I wonder if the gut reaction for all of us is going to be the same thing. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and we're all going to say the first name that comes to mind. Wes is freaking out. Y'all didn't have something jump to mind immediately?
I had like a few different names, and then I'm like, no. Well, what about this guy? And then
okay,
like,
we'll just pick one because I'm curious if this is an experiment. I'm wondering how deep the group thing goes because all the texters seem to agree. It was also the first name that came to my head, and I'm wondering if it's the first name that came to your head. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Chad
Jim
Morris.
McElwain.
Okay, no.
Jim McElwain is a good one.
That is a good one.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Going into the weekend, there's so many great things to do. The fair, staying at home and catching some football. Maybe you want to catch some baseball this weekend. You know, another great thing to do is catch up on sleep. That's right. With a Sleep Number bed, I can pretty much tell you that's what I'll be doing is catching up on sleep. I was out of town last weekend. This week, obviously, I've gotten up at 5 a.m. to do a radio show every morning. Tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, catching up on sleep. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be putting that Sleep Number setting on 55, and with my Sleep Number bed, I can guarantee you I will be much, probably a couple more muches in there, happier on Monday morning after a weekend full of rest. You can do the same. People ask, why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? And I tell them it's pretty simple because to be your best every day, you need proven quality sleep every night. And right now, don't miss Sleep Number's special introductory offer on the new Climate 360 Smart Bed. That's right. It is a brand new bed, and it is absolutely phenomenal. It's based on the use of temperature features and the proprietary responsive air technology that Sleep Number uses. So go visit a Sleep Number store, 2 to choose from, one in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings, the other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall, and you can visit them on the web as well, sleepnumber.com. Again, don't miss Sleep Number's special introductory offer on the new Climate 360 Smart Bed. I'm telling you what, these things are absolutely fantastic. If you want a great night of sleep, Sleep Number is the way to go. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Forest Drive, just west of I-77, a report of an accident. Also, 277 southbound at Sunset Drive. We have an accident there. Forecast looking not too terrible. Sunny and pleasant today, 75 for high, 81 tomorrow, 83.
Well, let's get a poll question up then. Why don't we?
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out. Big Staples Severe for max strength daytime relief. One dose of Big Staples Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst colds. I'll take you for 9 tonight. Power through your day. Big Staples Severe. Daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 tonight. Use it direct. Get what you want and pay over time when you use your Lowe's Advantage Fund. Now through October 26, 2022. Ask for 0% APR with 36 fixed monthly payments on a product installation or appliance purchase of $1,000 or more. Shop for the appliances you
Now, did your husband go and get one like at night during the fair, or did he do the $5 lunch thing and pick you up a couple? Because that $5 lunch thing really is the probably need to take advantage of that here. All right. There is a poll question out now asking which is better or are they the same item? Now let's see if I can find our where is our yeah, there you go. That's the way to do it. Oh, the poll question's out. You may have to call in and give your we'll definitely do that. Hold on, I gotta get this. Let's see, why am I struggling to spell elephant this morning?
Broadcasting live from the Annan and Chevrolet studio. It is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Annan and Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game. Your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
Kind of interested to see. Got a poll question out. What is the better item? The elephant ear, the funnel cake, or are they the same? Robin on our live stream is very invested for a young lady who works out a lot. She is very invested in the funnel cake elephant ear discussion. She
works out so she can consume those.
Me and her are one and the same. We're kindred spirits in that way.
Oh
That's why I
my
work
gosh,
out.
don't even.
Yes, I work out. I work out, Jen. I work out.
Okay.
Contrary to what it may sound like on this radio program, I am a lot skinnier in person than I sound doing a radio.
Not saying
That
anything
is
about
actually one of the funnest
size.
parts about meeting the listeners out and about. They're like, I thought you would be a lot fatter. Thank you. I do sound fat. I sound fat, but
No, that's not it at all.
But Robin said, please do not call funnel cakes and elephant ears the same. The best elephant ear is Lordy's. It's the red stand at the main entrance. Never leave without one. Won't eat any other. So it brought me to asking the question, all right, what is the better item here? Like what do we go with? If you had to pick one snack item, what are you going with? The elephant ear or the funnel cake? What is better? So far, 70-30 with just a couple votes in. Just got the poll question out, but funnel cake gets 70% of the vote. Elephant ear gets 30%. 10 votes are in. Jen, if I brought it, it sounds like you've got the concept down. One is more of like a waffly kind of thing. One is more of just a flat piece of dough. If I brought them to you and we did a blind taste test, would you be able to tell the difference?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really? What is the
Yeah.
difference?
I think in my thinking is that the funnel cake is maybe a little bit lighter, and the elephant ear is a little bit more dense. I don't know. I mean, I could be totally wrong. It's been a long time since I've had an elephant ear. I prefer the funnel cake. So
So your team funnel
I'm
cake.
team funnel cake.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. Buddy weighs in and says elephant ears are fried dough. A funnel cake is a type of fritter using fried batter.
Really.
Don't know if that really gets us to the bottom of this whole situation here, but
To me, it just seems like it's lighter than the elephant ear.
yes, the lighter of the two desserts. Okay. Always want to go with the
I
lighter.
don't mean lighter as in,
Yeah.
oh, it's health food. No, no, no. It just has the consistency seems lighter.
Yeah. Raj weighs in and says they're the same. And Gene, we have shocked him this morning. He says Bill works out. And they do work out. The modified elliptical, some sauna time, a few
Yeah. Do you
weights.
actually turn up any resistance on the elliptical?
I do
or you-
occasionally, yes.
Occasionally. There we go. Ding, ding, ding.
It depends. Look, I am very content with how I look right now. For
And you
40,
should
I am
be.
very happy.
Can we do a stress test on you? Like, how's your cardio?
At 5:45 before I start working with you, the stress test I would pass with flying colors.
Mhm.
At 9:05 after 3 hours of dealing with you, I would be subject to plenty of medication and other things. Look, I'm already stuttering and we've only worked together for 20 minutes this morning. 803-404-6100. If you want to be a part of the program and harass either one of us or be amazed at the fact that I do actually work out most times post radio show to get the aggression out after I've dealt with Jen for 3 hours. Should be a really fun weekend of college football. Last night really was a good game if you had a chance to catch it on FS1, West Virginia with a 43-40 victory over Baylor. Back and forth game. Very entertaining. Tonight, there will be two games. Navy at SMU on ESPN. Texas San Antonio at Florida International. Get fired up for that one. But Saturday, tomorrow, you've got a great slate of games where if you are not out and about going to a pumpkin patch or you're not having to go apple picking or do something on your Saturday morning, you're going to catch some really good football games. It'll start at noon. Michigan hosting Penn State. This is a litmus test for Michigan. Obviously winning the Big Ten last year. All right, Jim Harbaugh, all those things that Michigan hired him to do finally taking place. They beat Ohio State. They got to the Big Ten championship game. They won the Big Ten championship game. They got to the college football playoff. And this year they're kind of cruising along so far. They haven't really been tested. Last week it was tied at halftime with Indiana. Then they scored 21 points. They won 31-10. Now here comes big bad Penn State and James Franklin ranked number 10. That one should be a really fun one. Michigan a touchdown favorite in the big house. Our buddy Brian Edwards picked Penn State there to cover the 7. I kind of like Michigan. I think Michigan rolls in that one. We'll pick that one later this morning, though, although I've just kind of given you my thoughts. A couple other ones in the noon time slot there to keep an eye on. Auburn, I think you're watching Brian Harson's last game tomorrow. Auburn has a bye next week. It would seem like the ideal time if the Tigers are going to make a move. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin have been smashing anything in their path of late. They hung 52 on Vanderbilt. That game was a little bit closer than it needed to be last week for about a half, and then Vanderbilt got going. That's a noon game on ESPN down in Oxford. We'll see if Auburn has any kind of firepower to stick with Mississippi, but I think it could very well be the final game of the Brian Harsin era. Would actually be a little surprised if we come back and get together on Monday, and I'm talking about him still being the head coach for the University of Auburn. Number 19, Kansas. You heard that correctly. Will travel to Oklahoma. Another nooner there. That game will be on ESPN2 and on ABC. You got another pretty good Big 12 matchup. Iowa State traveling to Texas there. And if you want to throw it in, if you want a fifth TV, by the way, at noon, Minnesota at Illinois. Illinois number 24 in the college polls in the AP top 25. That one actually shouldn't be a bad game as well. PJ Fleck taking on Brett Bielema. That game will be in Champaign. Noon game, Big Ten Network. So you got 5 of them right off the jump that should be very entertaining tomorrow. Penn State at Michigan, Auburn at Ole Miss, Kansas at Oklahoma, Iowa State at Texas, and Minnesota at Illinois, all for different reasons. But the early slate of games, again, sets up to be really fun and get your day going. That'll lead you into the 3:30 slate of games that, again, fantastic afternoon. 3 games featuring top 20 matchups. One top 10 matchup that headlines tomorrow, where game day is at Alabama at Tennessee tomorrow. We'll talk more about this with Patrick Perret coming up throughout the morning, but that one should be a blast in Knoxville. is Josh Heupel in Tennessee for real? I mean, this is a big step. Instead of saying, okay, they're better, they're a lot better, or are they a national title contender? Tennessee wins this thing, and I think they're very capable of winning it. If Tennessee wins this thing, you're talking about a team that jumps probably into the top 3, maybe in the top 2 with Georgia setting up a 1-versus-2 showdown in a few weeks. That's going to be a lot of fun in Knoxville. It's good to see Rocky. I know it's not good for a lot of y'all, but I do enjoy seeing big-time football played in Knoxville. You get that crowd going. You get Rocky Top blaring. That should be a lot of fun tomorrow when the Crimson Tide and the Volunteers take on each other, 3:30 CBS. Oklahoma State and TCU, a top 15 showdown. Oklahoma State's quietly doing what they do. They're just winning football games. They smacked Baylor a few weeks ago in a pretty big showdown in Waco. Now they travel to Fort Worth to take on TCU. Horned Frogs right now up to number 13 in the polls. Should be a really good one. They're 8-13. That game's 3:30 on ABC. And one other ranked versus ranked matchup tomorrow at I'm still calling it the Carrier Dome. I refuse to call it the JMA Wireless Dome. It's the Carrier Dome. It always will be the Carrier Dome. North Carolina State and Dave Dorn, number 15 ranked right now. They'll travel up to Syracuse. Syracuse is feasted on a bunch of nobodies. Syracuse number 18 in the polls right now. So it'll be Wolfpack and Orange tomorrow, 3:30 ACC Network for that one. One other good game that if you had a couple weeks ago, I thought this might have been a top 10 game. Arkansas at 3:30 will travel out to Provo, Utah to take on BYU. Arkansas obviously stumbling a good bit the last few weeks, but they will go out to Provo to take on BYU. BYU at one point, I was pointing to this game after BYU had gotten off to a decent start and beaten that Baylor team I just mentioned. Then they got thumped by Oregon and lost last week to Notre Dame. But I mentioned if BYU could have run the table and won this ball game, you'd be talking about BYU as a potential legitimate playoff contender there or having a spot in it. So that's the 3:30 slate. 4 really good ones there for you to indulge in: Alabama, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, TCU, North Carolina State, Syracuse, and Arkansas, BYU. Vanderbilt will be served up as a meal to Georgia, also at 3:30 on the SEC network. Georgia will call their shot in that one. The night slate, it's actually not as great when you compare it to the 12 and 3:30 time slots. LSU, Florida at 7 on ESPN. Mississippi State, Kentucky. There's another ranked versus ranked matchup tomorrow, 7:30 SEC network. And at 8 o'clock, Southern Cal at Utah. That game will be on Fox. That is also a ranked versus ranked matchup. And of course, tomorrow night, 7:30 ABC, you get Clemson and Florida State. And Stanford and Notre Dame, always kind of an entertaining one. That game in Notre Dame, 7:30. You can catch it on NBC and Peacock there. So even the night slate, not bad. You get the 2 ranked games, Mississippi State and Kentucky, Southern Cal and Utah tomorrow night. So all in all, tomorrow, a fantastic day when you talk about 6 games featuring ranked versus ranked teams. That'll be a phenomenal Saturday. Should be the best one of the year. Looking forward to it. We'll continue talking about that. If you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100. The poll question is out. People are already very fired up here. Which is better, elephant ear or funnel cake, or are they the same item? It's the early game deep thoughts right now with over 20 votes in. Funnel cake with 50% of the vote, elephant ear with 32% of the vote, and they are the same with 18%. We ask the big questions. That's what we do on this program.
It's Friday.
It is Friday. That too as well. Yeah. Christy just sends us in a picture of a funnel cake and an elephant ear and says funnel cake versus elephant ear. So she just in case we didn't know what they looked like.
Oh, very good.
Keeping us up to date on that there on the Twitter account. You can go to @Will, WIL Gunter, GUNTER is how you can follow along there. You can join us this morning, 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Feels great. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Jen will give you a weather report here in just a little while, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. However, coming up in the next few months, it's going to be extremely cold, or as cold as it gets for Columbia, South Carolina. And what you're going to want is the heater in your house to be working properly. That HVAC system needs to always be on its A game. You never want to wake up in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning and the heating unit has gone out. Now you're in an argument with your significant other about who's getting out of the bed to go work and get this thing fixed. You know what? Don't worry about it. Just call AAA Heating and Air today. Get Roy and Dana's team out to your house for a little maintenance. Make sure everything's working properly. 803-677-1500. That's how you can reach them. Maybe you're in the market for a brand new heating and air unit. And if that's the case, you're not going to find a better time than right now to call AAA Heating and Air and take advantage of the great deals going on, as AAA Heating and Air have to empty their warehouse because of new government regulations in 2023. All units must be sold. No deals will be turned down. And how about this? They guarantee financing. That's right. Financing is absolutely guaranteed, not just for those of you with great credit. Anybody with credit can get a brand new heating and air unit tomorrow. You just need to call today. 803-677-1500. You need to tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Not only do you get guaranteed financing, but you get a 15-year parts and labor warranty. That's right. AAA Heating and Air, taking care of their customers as they've always done, serving the Midlands. So don't wait any longer. Call them today. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
I-26 eastbound at Old Sandy Run Road. There is an accident there. That would be exit 125 on I-26 eastbound. Also, an accident 277 southbound at Sunset Drive and Forest Drive, just west of I-77. Bill's right. I don't say that very often, but the forecast is telling us it's sunny and pleasant today. High of 75, sunny and warm tomorrow, 81, 83 for Sunday's high. Right now, though, 57 at 107.5 The Game.
Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted and reviewed cleaning company in town. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.
Yeah, young lady, you're good. You're fine. Keep that workout going. Morning, Jerry. Hope everybody is up and doing great. Final day of the work week, or hopefully final for everybody. Let me see here.
Gosh, we just have to keep hearing about that Bears game, don't we? That's what happens when you're on a Thursday night game. Oh, he must have been sucking his thumb too much. Had to have his thumb wrapped. Huh?
Utah. And what's the last game we should take here? I guess we'll go Oklahoma. We'll go to big games. Oklahoma State, TCU. So very quickly, Yeah, you got got to look here on the poll.
It's getting closer.
Let's see. Right now, yeah, Robin, you're. Oh, but it's making a comeback. The funnel cake is in the lead, barely 5 percentage points. It's a very heated debate on the Twitter.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight zero 6100 if you want to weigh in. The conversation just rages on the Twitter machine there regarding funnel cake versus elephant ear. Right now, almost 50 votes in. It's been a little bit of a comeback for elephant ear, but funnel cake leading the way. Which is better, the elephant ear or the funnel cake? It is a fair weekend here in Columbia, South Carolina. You can head down to the fairgrounds and hang out and enjoy some food, maybe enjoy a little bit of the sightseeing. That's one of the reasons you go to the fair, right? Is the people watching, Jen. I mean, maybe we don't mean to be mean about it, but you do go for a little bit of the people watching, right? To check out the array of folk that show up for the fair for the first time. They get out of their house for the first time this year.
Yeah, I think, a little bit of people watching. You got to go see the baby ducks, the chicks.
Oh, the baby ducks.
You
yeah.
know, gotta do
Chicks. I
that.
feel like you look at that every morning.
No. No.
Oh, it's a good. See, this is what happens when you have too many elephant ears or funnel cakes. You get all hopped up on the sugar.
Yeah, right. No, I haven't had any of those, but
Are you a candy? Is it candy apple? Am I right?
yeah, I don't do that as much as a kid. I think I would do that. I'm more of if I'll do the caramel apple, because
Mm.
I don't want to break my teeth.
Yeah, even then, too much. That was I think I had one of those in my life, and that was awful. I never liked the candy apple or the caramel apple. I always kind of stayed away from those, and quite honestly, because of the walking in the mess, I never really got into the funnel cake or the elephant ear. They are delicious.
That's to me, it's a take home thing.
Yeah,
And maybe even bring Ziploc, pack a
bring
bag.
us yes, bring in your fanny pack that you take to the fair. Take several Ziplocs
There you go.
to bag up your food. There, Jen's trying to do take home from the fair. So yes, if you take your fanny pack out there, make sure that you take your Ziplocs. So 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on a fair food. Yeah, we were looking, for those of you who missed the first segment, we were looking, and the fried item of the year here is the deep fried moon pie. You can go out and try that. The description here actually sounds delicious. I'm kind of hungry myself now. Deep fried moon pies will put you over the moon, is what it reads. These graham cracker and marshmallow filled moon pies, made especially for the South Carolina State Fair, will be freshly fried and delicious. Also available in chocolate and banana. So it would not be the early game if we did not discuss a little bit of food this morning. And we do have that poll question up there on the Twitter account. Elephant ear or funnel cake, which is better, or are they the same? 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. So I talked a little bit about the football schedule for the coming weekend. A couple games really just stand out. Also that I didn't really mention, Miami and Virginia Tech. Mario Cristobal had Miami off and running there to start the year. Things looked really good. They opened with wins over Bethune-Cookman and Southern Miss. And it seemed like, all right, the recruiting hype was building for Miami. The U was going to be back. And then they ran into actual living, breathing opponents, Texas A&M and North Carolina. I guess you throw Middle Tennessee State into that. But the Hurricanes have dropped 3 straight. And now they travel to Blacksburg tomorrow, 12:30. Keep an eye on that game, though, because we always talk about teams. Are they back? Is Texas back? Is Miami back? Is Tennessee back? Well, Miami, it's going to be a little bit of a rebuild. And the Hurricanes also come to Clemson later on in November, the weekend of the 19th. And that's a game that early on in the season I had kind of circled for Clemson to be a more of a difficult one. But Miami's got all kinds of issues right now. Tyler Van Dyke has been benched. He's struggling. The Mario Cristobal era has really hit some major speed bumps down there. That loss to Middle Tennessee State back a few weeks ago, 45-31, was pretty ugly. And now they get Virginia Tech, Duke, and Virginia in 3 consecutive weeks. Those are winnable games. But if Miami can't get back on track, not that they're going to fire Mario Cristobal, it's just a bad start for a program that seems to rededicate itself to football. More money going in, discussion about building a new stadium for them, maybe much closer to Coral Gables. So a lot going on. So keep an eye on that game. Virginia Tech's really struggled up in Brent Pry's first season as well. They're just 2-4 on the season. They lost that first one to Old Dominion, got wins over Boston College and Wofford before losing 3 straight to West Virginia, North Carolina, and Pittsburgh. Unlike Virginia Tech, but in those 3, they've given up 30 or more points each game, 33 to West Virginia, 41 to North Carolina, and 45 last weekend to Pitt. Normally that Virginia Tech defense is supposed to be very good. They've been kind of beaten around. I'd kind of take Miami in that one tomorrow as well, but keep an eye just early on because of what all the excitement and hype for Miami was supposed to be and what it's turned out to be. Another one, again, I just mentioned earlier, the Arkansas BYU game. Sam Pittman, remember all that love that Sam Pittman was getting and how everybody was very excited about him at SEC Media Day. And then even after they thumped South Carolina there in Fayetteville, they had opened 3-0 against Cincinnati, South Carolina, and Missouri State. Well, they've dropped 3 straight to ranked teams, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Mississippi State. And last week was ugly. 40-17 loss to Mississippi State and Mike Leach in Starkville. Now they go out to Provo, Utah before their bye week, and you lose that one, and a lot of the luster on the Sam Pittman era starts to come off a little bit. Very difficult there. So keep an eye just on those 2 games tomorrow. I think those 2 stand out a little bit more than a few others. 803-404-6100. When we come back, we'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
I-26 eastbound at Old Sandy Run Road. That would be exit 125. There is a report of a tie-up there. Also 277 southbound at Sunset Drive, working that accident. And Forest Drive just west of I-77. That forecast for this weekend looks fantastic. Sunny and pleasant today, 75 for the high, 81 tomorrow, 83 on Sunday. Right now, though, 57 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Jeff Martin Auctioneers is proud to host the unreserved public auction for the estate of Larry Spots, featuring 5 real estate lots, heavy equipment, trucks, trailers, and more. Find all the info at jeffmartinauctioneers.com. Experience the difference. License 4283.
Hey, South Carolina.
Oh. Oh yeah, that's right. I was trying to get point spreads for these games. Let me see here. All right. Let's see. TCU's 3.5. So TCU's favored in that game. Let's see here. Clemson's 3.5. And Southern Cal, we got some good ones. Southern Cal is
Employee onboarding automated. Customer support automated. What if you could automate all your company's routine operation tasks and do it easily? Lead management. Automated. With Zapier, you can. Zapier is the leader in no-code automation. Connect over 5,000 apps, automate almost any workflow, and streamline their team's performance without hiring a developer and with no coding required. That's right. Zapier's templates make it simple for you to automate anything in minutes, no matter your level of expertise. Zapier eliminates routine tasks and frees your employees to focus on the bigger picture. And with Zapier's advanced security features and annual SOC 2 audits, your data is safe and secure. See why thousands of companies, including Slack, Salesforce, and HubSpot, trust Zapier to automate their businesses, even complex tasks. Automated with Zapier. Try Zapier for free today at zapier.com/radio. That's Zapier.com/radio. Zapier.com/radio.
all right. Where's Jen? Let me see. Jen missed one. I had another friend's reference. That was what the chick reference was. You don't remember the it was actually owned. That's why it just came to me the other day. The one where Joey has to dance with the like the maintenance guy there.
Traeger.
Yeah, Traeger, and he says, "Well, where would the duck and the chick live?" And Traeger says, "Oh, you have pets?" And he goes, "No, I'm the duck and Chandler's the chick."
There you go. Forgot about that one.
And did everybody know yesterday was National Braless Day? I see this on Twitter. Apparently, I don't know why it's telling me this today, but apparently October 13th was National Braless Day.
Well, there you go. Did not know that.
Doesn't help us at all today, does it?
No.
Seems like that should have been on Twitter yesterday.
One would have thought.
Always a day late.
Yep. No support.
Been on quite a run this morning of friends references, and I'm going to throw one more out there in just a second and see who catches it. 803-404-6100 is.
It's a moot point.
It's a moot point. Just wait till I tell you about Vikram the volunteer.
Oh, yes.
Vikram.
Yep.
Vikram. Yeah, there you go. Look at us.
The fake boyfriend.
Just a zany little Friday morning. Hope you're up and doing well, getting the kids to school, getting them maybe ready for the fair. Part of the discussion this morning, the elephant ear versus the funnel cake. Or are they the same item? We're calling it early game deep thoughts right now. You can go and vote on the poll question.
Actually, it's early game deep fried thoughts.
Well, I went deep thoughts, but yeah, it could have been deep fried thoughts. We're in agreement there. Yeah, it's which one is better, or are they the same? Poll question now, almost dead even. Let's see, 34% saying they are the same, 34% saying funnel cake, and 32% saying the elephant ear. So funnel cake with 34%, 34% for they are the same, and elephant ear with 32% of the vote there. You can go and vote there on our Twitter account at Will, W-I-L, Gunter, G-U-N-T-E-R is the way to do that. Yeah, you heard me mention Vikram the volunteer. He called last night. He called me at 3:30 in the morning. Called my phone from a restricted number. Left me a voice message because unlike certain people, I do not answer the phone at 3:30 in the morning. And he wanted to talk all about apparently Tennessee and how they're going to whip up on Alabama. A man who's very familiar with 3:30 a.m. telephone phone calls from all kinds of different people. Probably Vikram, the volunteer, will be in touch with him in a few weeks. Gamecock Larry this morning. Gamecock Larry, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I got a call at 8:59, but I didn't answer it. He left me a message, but talking about they going to meet. They want me to come down to the state capitol on Friday night to look for the 12th man, but I ain't worried about it. Austin, the Aggies this week. Let's see if I can get a little bit from Tennessee Mike. Tennessee Mike, I ain't talked to you in a while, but let me tell you, if Alabama, if Bryce Young plays, Alabama is going to roll you. Jeff Heupel, I do not like your attitude, the way you just look like, I don't know what you look like. I better, don't want to call you anything I ain't supposed to call you, but I tell you what, to me, I don't know what it looks like. Let me go. But Tennessee Mike, they going to roll you. If Bryce Young plays 45, Tennessee 31. If you are lucky, you'll get 31. The old man lives. This is the kind of games he gets ready for. Old Nick got old Heupel's number. 45-31. If Bryce Young plays. If you don't, it's still going to be 45-31. Go Gamecocks. Nice talking to you, Bill. Jennifer, I ain't talked to Patrick and all you Gamecock Nation. Sit back and relax this weekend because we going to have a barn burner next weekend. We going to have a barn burner. And I wish I could be out there, but I might get run over in my wheelchair. So that's about all I got to say. Have a good weekend. Love all y'all. Go Gamecocks.
There you go. Probably he's going to be wrong with that Tennessee prediction. But, Tennessee, I'd imagine Gamecock Larry will have to wear his orange shirt on Saturday night with the big T, the power T on it, and get ready. It should be a really fun one there in Knoxville. We'll talk with Patrick Perret more about that game, as well as some NFL news, obviously, the Matt Rule news, and some of the stuff from targeting coming up in the next hour as Patrick will join us. Tony Annan set to call in as well. This morning, his squad heads down to Myrtle Beach to take on Coastal Carolina. So a lot to get to as we continue to roll through. 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program this morning if you choose to do so. Again, you can go to our live stream, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of everything there. I mentioned last night, again, if you didn't see it, West Virginia and Baylor, really good. The NFL game, not so good last night. Washington, a 12-7 winner over Chicago. Justin Fields with 190 yards passing for the Chicago Bears, but it was the other quarterback, Carson Wentz, that had a lot of attention after the game. A reporter asking Ron Rivera who made the decision to bring Carson Wentz to the Commanders, if it was a Daniel Snyder move, and that drew some, we'll call anger from Coach Rivera there. Carson Wentz last night, just 12 of 22 for 99 yards. He was not very good. All in all, it was just a rough game to watch. It did come down to a final play with I think it was about 30 seconds there to go. A pass into the end zone from Fields to one of his wide receivers. It looked like, I thought the ball had kind of crossed the line of scrimmage when he caught it, but then he lost it. He kind of bobbled it and regained possession outside of the goal line. And it really was an easy call once they went back and looked at it, but a very tough way for the Bears to go down. Jen, did you make it all the way to the end of that game, or did you just give up halfway through because it was? Oh,
heavens no.
Yeah, that's exactly probably the right way to handle that. Patrick Perret coming up in the next hour. Tony Annan coming up. Chris Dearing at 8 a.m. this morning. We got a lot to do. It's Bill Gunner. It's Jen Jensen. It's a Fairfield Friday morning. I like that. Fairfield Friday morning on the early game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Are you ready for a new car? State Credit Union now has excellent rates on new and used vehicles, and you'll enjoy having no car payments for up to 90 days. Not a member of State Credit Union yet? Joining is fast and easy. Visit their website for details, scscu.com. That's scscu.com. In the market for an electric vehicle? Ask about additional funds for the purchase and installation of a charging station. Terms and conditions apply. Rates, conditions, and programs subject to change without notice. Equal housing lender. State Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
I can walk again. I can cross my legs again. I can wear heels again.
After years of living with chronic joint pain, Andrea Southard is now living a normal life, pain-free, thanks to natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics.
We tried everything. And my husband had heard the commercial for QC Kinetics on the radio, and he told me to call him and check it out.
That phone call changed Andrea's life. QC Kinetics used powerful natural biologics to treat her aching joints. It's high-tech precision medicine that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue with no surgery and no drugs, providing lasting relief.
I felt like I was in my 20s again. I could tie my own shoes. Really the little things that you don't think about.
Pain in your hips, knees, back, shoulders? Get rid of the pain now. Call QC Kinetics.
803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
Football Friday.
Straight down the middle and it's blocked. Carolina.
All right, we're back. He's ready. Celebrating his big victory over the Jen's Bears. Jen was just complaining in there.
Congrats on your win.
Thank you. It was two teams that went out there and deserved to win, clearly.
This iPad has dominated me this morning. Like, it has been a beating at the hands of this iPad. We'll see if I got it fixed there.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Today's phrase of the day is, I have no clue.
107.5.
If you say, I have no clue, this means I don't know. In fact, I don't even have any idea.
The Game.
So much to get to in this hour. I don't even know where to start. Do we let Patrick just tap dance all over Jen for his victory last night? The Commanders, a dominating 12-7 victory. It was a pillow fight unlike anything Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels have ever had to broadcast. Do we get his opinion right off the bat on elephant ears versus funnel cakes, which one he prefers, or do we just turn him loose with NFL?
I think you need to at least get the fair food thing discussion.
Yeah, let's avoid that Bears-Commanders game at all costs. So Patrick Perret joining us as he does every Friday. This is a Friday in which, Patrick, I may just walk off and go get some more coffee because there's a lot for you to kind of break down, whether it's Matt Rule being fired, your Commanders winning last night, South Carolina beating Kentucky, or, well, yeah, as Jen said, the fair is in town. Elephant ear versus funnel cake. What is your hot take on that?
I like funnel cakes because that's what I had growing up, and also they're easier to share. Like an
Yes.
elephant ear is just one giant flat thing. I mean, I guess you can rip it, but the funnel cake comes in little pieces, and you can pluck them off like little uh, powdered sugary French fries almost.
Yep.
They're nice. They're much more ideal for splitting.
100% agreement. I knew I liked Patrick.
Convenience. Oh yeah, you'll do anything right now to be friends with the guy whose team last night just Carson Wentz dominating the game, all 99
Dominating.
yards passing, just an absolute performance. Patrick, did you make it to the very end of the game with that scintillating finish there?
Oh yeah, there was no shot when Justin Fields ran to the 6-yard line or 5-yard line. There was no shot. I thought that we were going to win with four plays for them.
But you knew you were playing the Bears. So
Yeah, I mean, it was a pathetic game. It was so bad. I mean, the only reason we scored a touchdown was because Velus Jones got hit in the face by a punt. I mean, it was horrible. And there's no way to be excited about it. There was also, before the game yesterday, there was another like explosive ESPN article about Dan Snyder having dirt on all the other owners in the NFL and flexing his muscles and threatening them so that if they ever try to vote him out, then he's got dirt on them and he knows what to do. And it is such a mess. And Ron Rivera's a hypocrite, and Ron Rivera was so lucky that he spent a decade in Carolina where they don't actually cover the team on a day-to-day basis like they do in the major cities, because he is just stepping over himself every single day, calling out Carson Wentz last week, then blaming the media for him blaming the quarterback when they asked 5 follow-up questions that no one took him out of context. He's just like going back and forth every year. Before this season, he said, hey, this is year 3. This is where head coach is finally tested. This is where everything comes together. And then every time we lose a game, he says, listen, it's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. And he just goes back and forth all the time, talks out of both sides of his mouth. I'm fully out on Ron Rivera. Great guy, bad football coach. Our team's a mess. Honestly, part of me was hoping that we would have just lost yesterday and then tanked for the number 1 pick. Because at this point, if we don't get Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, or Will Levis, it's not turning around anytime soon. And I don't even know if Will Levis counts, because I'd really just want one of the other two.
Okay, so there you go. So there is the happy-go-lucky take of one Patrick Perret, fresh off a 12-7 victory over Chicago Bears last.
12-7 and 12-9 the last 2 weeks.
Hey, you do what you got to do.
Football.
Yeah, it's not been pretty, but the Commanders have won. They won last night, and you should be celebrating this morning. You should be just all up in arms and rubbing it in Jen's face. But instead, we'll move on. Let's just stay NFL here for a second. Obviously, we'll get into your thoughts on last week in South Carolina and Kentucky. But the big news, Matt Rule being let go, and there's 2 sides to that. Okay, what do the Panthers do? But I assume also on the flip side of that, Matt Rule maybe becomes it's strange to get fired and maybe be one of the most coveted coaches out there, but that's exactly what Matt Rule may be at the collegiate level. So start with the Panthers. Where do you see the Panthers going from here? And then on the next side of that, where do you see Matt Rule going? Because I'm assuming it's back to college and he's going to have his pick of what schools he wants to go to, or if he wants to sit out for a year and just hang out with all his money and then see what else comes available next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty amazing contract deal where he gets his $40 million and whatever he makes in college just comes out of that. So he's going to make the same amount of money for the next however many years, no matter what. If he goes to college next year, I actually respect him a lot for it, because that just means he's a workaholic. He's addicted to football. Like, he feels like he has to be coaching at all times. He's just one of those guys. Because if that was me, there's no shot I would coach a game until that contract ran out. And in 5 years, he'll still be young enough to get a head coaching job, and he'll still be coveted. I think he'd be a great candidate. I think Nebraska would love to have him. I don't think he's going to be in play for Auburn or any of the SEC jobs necessarily. But I could totally see him just broadcasting for a year, be an analyst maybe somewhere. I don't know if he wants to do the Nick Saban Alabama thing, because he's making so much money. I could see him being broadcaster next year, but I think Nebraska is the job to look at for him. I don't think he's interested in Georgia Tech. I don't think that would make any sense. I think Wisconsin really wants the Jim Leonard experiment to work out, and I have no reason to believe that it won't at this point. So I can see Nebraska happening, but I won't be surprised at all if he just sits around and lays low for a year, does TV or something along those lines, and then gets after it and has a full year to evaluate the marketplace and pretty much handpick his job. So it was the right move for sure. He had to get fired. David Tepper gave him too much money, too much control all at once for someone that had no NFL experience. And they never really did well in the draft. I mean, it was interesting to go all defense one year in the draft, but when you just don't draft any quarterbacks and you continuously tie yourself to people like Sam Darnold, like Baker Mayfield, like Teddy Bridgewater, and expect to build a winning team from that, it's just not going to happen. Like, he needed to address the quarterback position at some point, and it never happened. I don't know if drafting Justin Fields instead of J.C. Horn would have kept him in that seat this year. It doesn't seem like it. So I don't think he's a bad football coach. I think that job was too much for him. I think maybe the NFL was too much for him. I can't imagine he'll want to stay there. But as things go, it wasn't like the world's biggest failure, but it wasn't a successful last couple of years in Carolina, and everybody needed to go their separate ways.
We'll keep talking about this with Patrick Perret this morning, but let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines now. A good buddy of ours who can't be in studio because he's got to do his actual job, Tony Annan, joining us, Patrick, because I like when you two talk to each other. It takes a lot of pressure off me. And Coach Annan, you got a big match again tonight. You got to take a bus ride down, unfortunately. You got to go to Myrtle Beach, Coastal Carolina on the docket tonight. So a little training this morning, but welcome in and hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks. Everything's good. Just getting ready to leave in a few hours, so couldn't make it in the studio. Sorry.
You let's go back just for last week real quick. Obviously, you took on a top 10 team in Marshall. Rocky Perez scores his first collegiate goal, but you fall 3-1. Just talk a little bit about that match, what you saw, and how you think maybe your team's able to take something away from matching up with a top 10 team in Marshall.
I mean, I think it showed where the bar is. They're probably one of the best teams in college soccer, probably one of the oldest teams as well. They've got a lot of mature players who have been around for 4 or 5 years now. So I think it just showed our team, where the bar is. We didn't really execute our game plan as well as we could have from start to finish. But yeah, I mean, we would, at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to say, you know what, they're better than us at the moment. And they were. And that's obviously where we want to get to. And it just, again, clearly showed the level of what we have to do to get to be in the top 10 in the nation.
So what's the message to the team, Coach, after a loss like that against a phenomenal team? You got to get on the road quickly. Was it just kind of rest up the bodies? It's a quick turnaround. Is it how many times are you on the field in between then as well?
To be fair, we've had probably 3 or 4 sessions this week. We had a few knocks as well that we had to rest some players this week. So a couple of lads have not trained but one day. But yeah, I mean, the message is, look, before that game, we were on a good run. We put in some good performances, some good gritty performances. So it was like, this doesn't derail what we've been doing. It's just a bump in the road. We've got to get on with it. We've got to try and win our next 4 matches to put ourselves in a good position. So yeah, it's just carry on and let's hit the road again. Nothing, no panic stations, no, big worry from us. It's just let's keep on doing what we've been doing.
Not ideal, I would guess, that you travel. Or do you mind traveling the day of the match in the manner that y'all will tonight? You take on Coastal down there tonight. I believe that game, I'm going to confirm it here in just a second, but I believe that game will be streaming on ESPN Plus. But is that, when you do something like that, because it's not a bad trip, 2.5 hours, so it's not like you're driving to West Virginia where it was 8 hours, or you're having to drive somewhere that's further. Is that something that you don't think will affect the team that much tonight?
It's a bit of trial and error, really, because we've done it always. We've gone in the day of, we've gone in the day 2 days before, we've gone in the day before. So this will be the first time we're going in the day of. But again, it's 2.5 hours. We're getting there in plenty of time. We're going to, have a pre-match meal in Conway. We've got time to walk the pitch. We've got enough time where 2.5 hours shouldn't be a big deal. But, for some of these players, especially the international guys, 2.5 hours sometimes is the drive across their country. So we'll see. But I don't think it's a big deal to go in the day of. No.
803-404-6100 if you want to send in a question via the text line for Coach Annan. As Kaiser hits us up this morning, says, man, I love when Coach Annan is on, love when he is on the air. Coach, as you mentioned it, let's go back. You kind of hit on that injury report a little bit. You said some guys, bumps and bruises. What are you expecting to have tonight when you take to the pitch?
Well, squad's at about 90%, I think, as far as, fully fit. There's a couple of strains and a couple of, not pulls, but close to it. I think the biggest blow was, we lost our central midfielder, Laritz, the Danish kid. We've probably lost him for the rest of the season, which really hurts because he's our mainstay, our rock in the middle of the pitch. So we've lost him for the season. But other than that, everyone's kind of limited, but playable, I guess. They could probably play, I think. So we're not in too bad shape.
Is this causing you to maybe shorten up rotations and ask sort of more of the starters and maybe just make them play a little bit longer? Are you going deeper into the bench, or how's this changing things up strategically as you get late in the year and the roster gets a little bit slimmer?
Well, I mean, the guys that are hurting are the guys that have played the most minutes, obviously. They're playing 2-3 games a week sometimes, so it's just too much on their body, So the guys who are struggling a bit are our starters. The bench is pretty much in good health. In fact, a couple of the bench players who were struggling are now back to fitness, so hopefully they'll be able to contribute some minutes as well. Ethan Deckel should be back, hopefully, at the end of the weekend, so that's a bonus. But like I say, losing the Reeds for the season is kind of a real punch in the face.
Okay, so I always hear you're right, that hurts. Who do you look at now? Who is there a player or two that you've pulled aside this week and said, okay, next man up, mantra that all right, I'm going to need more out of you? Is there a player somewhere? And, it might even be that you've had to go to Ben Alexander, your young goalie, and say, look, it's unfortunate. We need our players, but now I've got to have something more from you. Is there a guy or two that you've looked to or talked with this week that you say, hey, this isn't a great situation, but we're going to need more from you?
Yeah, I mean, look, it upsets the team when they lose a big part of the team and they lose a rock like Laritz. And it upsets people, and obviously the worry goes through the team, but I think we've got enough players to be able to shuffle things around. And to your point, it's basically just let's rally around this and let's do this for each, and let's make sure the season is a positive. Even if he's not playing, he's going to feel part of it, and he's going to feel like he contributed. So we're going to shuffle some things around, and again, relying on young guys who've just come in to step up and do a little extra and do a little more, but they're capable, and I think we'll empower them to let them do that.
Yeah, and as we hit the home stretch of the conference slate here, so 5 games left in the conference, and then does everybody make the conference tournament? Is it like a first round bye or anything like that? How does that work?
It's not everybody. I think it's 8 teams make the conference, and it's the top seeds get the home games. So it's important that you finish as high as you can, but we're hopeful of making the tournament. That's one thing. The postseason tournament that was our goal, at least to start the season. So hopefully we'll make that, and then we'll have a chance and try and win the tournament. That's the plan.
Again, he's Coach Tony Annan joining us tonight. They will take on Coastal Carolina down in Conway at the Coastal Carolina Soccer Stadium. Coastal enters the game on the season 3-3-4. They're coming off back-to-back draws against number 3 Marshall and Georgia State. Marshall was September the 29th. Georgia State was last Friday night. They tied Georgia State over in Atlanta 2-2, and they'll match up with Tony's Gamecocks tonight. How do you see how do they match up with you guys? Is it something where, again, it's pretty similar, or is this something where they do a few things that maybe you guys are going to have to be a little bit more prepared for that you don't handle as well? How do you see your team matching up and their guys matching up with you?
They're a difficult team to match up against. They are very athletic, large. They've got some very big players. They're very direct with their play, so they don't try to play through you. They'll play over you and try and get in behind you. They've got two huge centre forwards that they play into and try and play knockdowns off them. So second balls are really important. And they like to play for set pieces and long throws and kind of just a really difficult team to deal with. That's their sort of mantra, that they are hard to play against. They break up the game and they try and not let you get in a rhythm of playing football. So it's a difficult one. Yeah. And we haven't matched up against a big physical team yet. So this will be a test to see where we're at, you know.
How do you approach now training and kind of going back to Patrick's question about rotations? Because as you and I talked last night, you mentioned you guys go on a run here. You've got Coastal Carolina tonight. You'll actually travel up to Virginia on, I guess, Tuesday, and you'll take on Old Dominion on Wednesday. We look forward to having you back next Friday here in studio. Next weekend, October 23rd, will be the first time you're back at Stone Stadium. You'll take on James Madison. It'll be a Sunday match for those that want to get out there at 3:00. So you've got, tonight included, three matches over the next 11 days. How do you set your training to both keep your guys fresh, but also to get the props?
It's tough, right? I mean, you've got to be careful that you don't undertrain the players because they start to lose what they've got, but on the other side of it, they've got to be able to recover and rest and be prepared to give 100% in the game. So it's between now, I think the next 10 days, there's not a lot of big training sessions. There's not a lot of training load going to happen. There's going to be a lot of play, recover, prepare, play, recover, prepare. So as far as training goes and actually doing full training sessions with principles of play and everything else, it's going to be hard to do that in the next 10 days. It's about getting through this 10 days of playing at 100%. I mean, if you think about it, when you play a soccer match and you play 80 to 90 minutes, the body doesn't recover for 2 days. That's how long it takes minimum for the body to start getting back to where it can train at a reasonable level. We don't get those 2 days, right? We're back, we recover, we have a day off, we recover, we prepare, and we play. So it's very difficult. And then you throw in travel on top of that. It's difficult to be at their peak performance every game. And that's just the way it is. And you've got to deal with that. And that's the way the season goes.
When you say they'll lose what they've got, like, are you talking when you train, is it just getting a ball at their feet? Like, will they lose any technical ability if they're not training as often? Or is this more get on the field and not necessarily run through drills, but let's knock out tactically the things we need to discuss. Let's talk about this formation. Let's talk about this set piece or how we need to attack this next opponent. Is it more like big picture, or is it actually just they need a ball at their feet every day?
Yeah, it's not big picture. I mean, tactics are, when you're recovering or when you're in preparation, tactics are pretty much all you can do because it's light on the legs and it doesn't hit a cardiac load or a physical training load. That's going to put them in a dangerous spot of injury or just fatigue in general. So, it's when I say they lose what they got, it's just that sharpness, with the ball. Even, you've got to get them up to a certain cardiac load and training load for them to be productive. But you can't go too far under that or they start to slip away. So the fine line of how much you can train and how much you have to sort of pull back and allow them to be fresh for the games. You've got to really, really dig down into it and see, you look at the data and the numbers that we have, and luckily our system is a very good system that can actually tell you, look, this player is trending downwards. He's trending up into a red zone where he's at risk of injury. And if you look at the data and you use the data efficiently and don't get too bogged down with the data, you can get close to where you need to be. But, if you go too far with the data, you could also lose track of what you're really doing. So we have a good obviously a great strength and conditioning guy in Danny who really keeps an eye on it, and he tracks players live at training. So we know when they're in a zone where it's a pretty much a danger for them because of their load, because of the fatigue in their muscles. So we're managing the squad, and I think that's how we've kept so healthy this year. But it's all, when it gets to this point in the season, it's a grind, and like you say, it's 3 games, 10 days, and travel. It gets really difficult.
Coach, we appreciate you stopping by this morning. I know you got a lot on your plate as you get your guys ready to head down to Conway. Good luck tonight, and we look forward to having you back in studio with us next Friday to look ahead to your return home, James Madison, next Sunday. In between now and then, though, you'll take on Old Dominion as well. We look forward to keeping up with you. You can watch Coach Annan tonight, ESPN Plus, live streaming tonight to keep an eye on that. South Carolina Coastal, Carolina down in Conway. Coach, safe travels, and look forward to catching up with you.
Thanks again, guys. I'll see you soon.
Take care. Coach Tony Annan, men's soccer coach, joining us this morning. Didn't get a chance to really talk some Premier League with him, Patrick. We'll definitely do that next week. We'll come back. We'll get into some more NFL. Obviously, get Patrick Perret's thoughts on the South Carolina victory over Kentucky and what he saw, what he thinks it means for the program. You're listening to Patrick Perret, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
There are a lot more options for worst tire than best tire, probably.
I have an answer that I hope none of you pick.
Ooh.
As soon as I teased that going into the last break, we immediately got a couple of texts, all with the exact same name. So I wonder if the gut reaction for all of us is going to be the same thing. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and we're all going to say the first name that comes to mind. Wes is freaking out. Y'all didn't have something jump to mind immediately?
I had like a few different names, and then I'm like, no. Well, what about this guy? And then
okay, we'll just pick one because I'm curious if this is an experiment. I'm wondering how deep the group thing goes because all the texters seem to agree. It was also the first name that came to my head, and I'm wondering if it's the first name that came to your head. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Chad
Jim
Morris.
McElwain.
Okay, no.
Jim McElwain is a good one.
That is a good one.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Well, you might make a trip to the fair this weekend, and if so, you come home, you bring all that great food, the powdered sugar funnel cakes or elephant ears, you bring the candy corn or whatever out of the cotton candy, all that stuff. Then it gets all over the carpet, and it's just a mess. And that means it's time to call Zero Rest. Take advantage of their fall sale going on right now. You can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. So give them a phone call today. Get them out to your home. 803-262-4020 is how you can get in touch with the great folks at Zero Rest. They've been taking care of my house. They'll definitely do the same for you with their patented ZR water technology. Scientifically proven to keep your carpet, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all insanely clean. And with over 1,900 Google reviews and a 4.9 star rating, Zero Rest Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is the most highly reviewed cleaning company in the Midlands. So again, right now, take advantage of their fall sale. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can also schedule with ease online, ZeroRestColumbia.com. Again, 803-262-4020 or online, ZeroRestColumbia.com. Zero Rest, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
277 southbound, we're getting reports that traffic is being routed onto Faro Road. So avoid 277 southbound if you can, if you're heading into downtown Columbia. It's quite a mess right now. Again, that's 277 southbound, routing traffic onto Faro Road. We also do have a report of an accident, Blue Johnson Road / Roberts Road there at Garner's Ferry Road. I-20 westbound at Sunset Boulevard have a bit of a tie-up there. And aside in Highway 378 there at I-26, they're also saying that there is a subsequent accident there. So a few accidents to keep an eye out for this morning. Might be slowing you down, but it's Friday, so let's try to be patient. 75 for the high today, 81 tomorrow, 83 tomorrow under mostly sunny skies, 57 right now, 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Science with CBS Sports Minute. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Art Shamsky. The 81-year-old right fielder was a key member of the 1969 Miracle Mets, batting .538 in that magical postseason, and what a postseason it was. Last month, Shamsky floated an intriguing sports bar debate notion. He tweeted that the original 1962 expansion Mets, who had lost 120 games, would likely be only the 5th or 6th worst team in baseball today. Interesting. I'm Boomer Science.
CBS Sports
When cold symptoms keep you up, try Vicks NyQuil Severe for max strength nighttime relief. Just one dose of Vicks NyQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Get some rest and feel better with Vicks NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, sore throat, stuffy nose, fever, best sleep with a cold. Medicine. Use as directed.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's rewards members can earn bonus points on select products from brands like DeWalt, Purdy paint applicators, and GRK screws. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, grills, Lowe's gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Visit Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points for details. Now through 10/28.
Sponsored by Mucinex Fast Max Cold and Flu All-in-One. Skip the symptoms, not the celebration.
Celebrate comeback season with Mucinex Fast Max Cold and Flu All-in-One. Its maximum strength formula tackles up to 9 cold and flu symptoms. Try Mucinex All-in-One and get $5 cash back to celebrate your comeback. Visit fastmaxcashback.com to learn more. Use as directed.
With approved credit, call 888-411-7640 for details. Dodgeland has the largest new 2023 Ram Charger Challenger inventory around. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Ram Charger or Challenger of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. Ram Power Days.
Since 1964, Gateway Supply has been the Midland's leader in plumbing and HVAC supply, and now, of course, they are statewide with more than 15 locations all across South Carolina. Their showrooms are filled with bath and kitchen fixtures from classic to modern styles. Now, tap and touchless faucets. You can even talk to your kitchen sink. See them at Hamrick Street near the Fairgrounds in Williams-Brice, or Highway 6 and Whiteford Way in Lexington. Design services, expert advice for customers and contractors alike. Visit them online at gatewaysupply.net.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. The Gant girls, you know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You've got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate for the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
Titus and Tate, a podcast from two obsessed basketball lovers.
Talking about the NBA PA, the players know veteran guys are losing jobs over the potential of there's a 17-year-old Peyton Watson, and team's like, I'm going to take a chance on him. As Chris Paul and LeBron James and all these guys are adding up the years, they're like, wait a second.
They're NIMBYs. They're like, we want it, just not in my backyard.
Yeah, just not for me. I want it to happen. It's not here.
Please don't take my job. But all those kids should have jobs.
The Titus and Tate podcast, wherever you listen.
This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out its warehouse before new government efficiency regulations go into effect in 2020.
Did you combine breaks?
No, we're just I'll kind of turn it over to you for a few minutes on, we'll do Kentucky stuff here, and I'll just kind of let you talk, and then we'll break again. I mean, yeah, you can hear it somewhere. We're into old timey now, so we're coming back. So we'll go about. I'll let you talk for about 3 or 4 minutes, just kind of give everything your thought, and then and then we'll break and then come back, and I'll probably let you talk again. That'd probably be the best thing. That way you got all your thoughts and opinions. He couldn't make it in, and I told him to either call it 7 or I told him to call it 7:20. So he called it 7:08. And I know he's in a bit of a rush, so I appreciate him doing that. But yeah. That was up.
Final score, Gamecocks 13, Tigers 5. That's the whole time. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studio. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunner and Jen Jensen. Home of the Gamecocks.
The early game, 1075.
The game.
Big thank you to head coach Tony Annan for taking time. I know he's busy this morning, but certainly love having him on and getting him to give a little bit of a breakdown on both the Marshall game last week and on the Coastal Carolina match tonight. Again, you can stream that on ESPN Plus tonight, 7 o'clock. Gamecocks and Chanticleers down in Conway. There's Coach Tony Annan and his team head down. Appreciate him joining us each and every week in the way he does, and being able to just give a little information this morning. Last Saturday night, Patrick, we talked about it. We made fun of Mark Stoops several weeks ago, and South Carolina gets a little revenge. Shane Beamer throws on the glasses, turns the hat around, and dances. That was all neat and cool. What did you see from the game?
I saw South Carolina dominate, which they needed to do, but it was a not very good football team that took the field against them. Very flawed. That quarterback was in way over his head, Kaya Sharon. The offensive line for Kentucky has been struggling all year. They were not good. So South Carolina did what they needed to do in terms of flexing their muscles on the defensive side of the ball and just making life difficult for 4 quarters for that kid, completely dominating that battered offensive line, starting that freshman at the right tackle. He was terrible for them, and it was a dominant performance. Not what you would have liked to see in the first half offensively, but they turned it around. Marshawn Lloyd, I don't know where he's ranked big picture in this conference, but you can't count on one hand all the running backs better than him in the SEC right now. If you offered me Marshawn Lloyd or Chris Rodriguez, I would take Marshawn Lloyd at this point. He's just been so good, so dynamic, and if South Carolina can play like they did to close out that game, and Spencer Rattler can play like he did to close out that game, they're going to have a really good chance to get their first win against Texas A&M here. I don't know if you can call it a trap game or like a letdown spot for an A&M team 2 weeks after Alabama and 2 weeks after a loss at that. Maybe it's a get-right spot for them, but they looked good against Bama late, but South Carolina will have a chance. I mean, you'll have a whole week to talk about it, but South Carolina definitely has a chance to beat this team. And I saw Brad Crawford put out the tweet. I don't know what kind of intel he's got, especially if South Carolina is going up against another freshman quarterback. But as far as Kentucky, it does kind of stink that the only 2 times we've beaten them in the last decade were with backup quarterbacks. But it's a win's a win. That streak needed to end. They've won in Kroger Field for the first time in a decade now, and they can move forward, and still everything that they wanted with their season is right ahead of them. If you told them that they would have 2 losses at this point, I don't think South Carolina fans would have objected. You could say Arkansas and Georgia. You could have said Georgia and Kentucky, and either way, they're right where they need to be at this point.
Yeah, to your point, I think maybe a little bit ahead of where they need to be. And the reason I say that, Patrick, is because this opened the door, especially when you look at the next 4 games. And I'll get your take on that. That's a big thing that I've talked about coming up here in the next segment is the next 4. You look at those opponents, and it's what you said. Yeah, Kentucky wasn't a very good team, but who cares? South Carolina won, and that's what they had to do. Being 4-2 is a lot better than being 3-3, especially when you look next 4. I'll get your take on the next 4 because that to me is what's important. The opportunity in front of South Carolina. You're listening to Patrick Perret, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
277 southbound.
Yeah, what were we just talking about? Just the time. So I like it. Y'all getting moved in. I see we got some little decorations up behind you.
Yep, we are almost unpacked completely. Everything's almost right where it needs to be. It'll be a finished product this weekend.
Did you do the little street fair that you showed last week?
The what?
Did you do the little street fair that you showed last week?
Yeah, Oktoberfest.
How was it?
It was amazing. My boss ended up giving me VIP tickets, which was unlimited food and beer at a certain tent for 3 days. So for 3 days, I was just walking downstairs for every meal, and I ate sausage, sauerkraut, which I don't love sauerkraut, but like sausage and what else did they have? Red cabbage was good. Like roasted potatoes were good. Reuben dip, all sorts of stuff. So I basically just ate German food for 3 days straight, and it was awesome.
That's not a terrible thing. Not at all.
There's some goulash, which is like basically hamburger helper.
Yeah,
that was great.
You could. I tell you what, we used to make goulash at the house. You know, I actually made it recently. Not difficult. You know.
Yeah, I got the impression that it's almost like jambalaya in the sense that like you just throw whatever you want in there. There's not like one hard and fast recipe. It's just like
you can
whatever
throw
you
some.
got.
Yeah, throw some vegetables in, and it's like some ground beef, maybe some noodles, a tomato base of some kind.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not terrible.
Did fill up the fridge. Kind of started fresh with the fridge. We went
fresh with the fridge.
Yeah, in a way, we brought some stuff, but a lot of the stuff we just hit the reset button. We also just went from the top bottom fridge to the side doors, so we have a much bigger. The freezer is probably twice as big as the last one was.
Oh, so you can keep all kinds of stuff in there, huh?
Yeah, that is nice. And we have a water filter or a tap. We don't have to drink out of the tap anymore.
Oh, okay. So it comes through the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Handy.
Yeah, I need to actually change my whatchamacallit, the filter or whatever. Guess I need to figure out. Huh?
You can do that?
I don't know if I can or can't. I'll tell you after I try it.
I think that I think our last fridge or my parents' fridge, I remember it saying like clean filter for like a year.
Yeah.
I just have always drank tap water too, so I know that I'm not drinking filtered water anyway.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I drank tap water.
I mean, I did in college. We had a Brita, but if it ran out and I didn't feel like filling it back up right away because it takes a little while to filter through, I would just fill up with tap water.
I drink too much water that I couldn't. The Brita, I don't think could keep up. Isn't that just a pouring thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it takes it a minute to fill up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many ounces are in that, but that would probably get annoying real quick.
Yeah, right out of the hose. I remember that. That was always nice in the summer.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Just two of the great offensive minds in modern day college football with an extra week to prepare. Jason, Jimbo Fisher, and Marcus Satterfield. A test of wits.
A test of wits.
That's what this show's all about. Test of wits.
Did we get the results from last week?
The pick'em?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got more than one. I got at least 3.
Let's see. You got South Carolina, Kansas, and Texas.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure you got North Carolina. North Carolina won. Yeah.
Yeah, North Carolina won. Is that 4 and 2?
Yep.
Needed that.
I'll try during one of these breaks. I keep forgetting to send it sometimes to Jamie and JC, but I mean, granted. So let's see here. Week 1. We ought to do this in hour number 2. Go back. See where we stand.
We can work back through last weekend.
Huh?
We can work back through last weekend.
Yeah.
(803-404-6100) if you want to weigh in this morning, be a part of the program. Patrick Perret joining us as he does each and every Friday. We'll make some picks coming up in the next hour. Just glancing, I think I've got there was week 3 was your rough week, Patrick. You went 1-5, and I went 5-1. It really separated us that week, but you went 1-5. So that was a bummer there. Other than you had back-to-back. Oh, I'm looking now.
Yeah, they're 2 really bad weeks.
Yeah.
But I made the right picks. It was just the wrong things happened in the game.
Right. Yeah, you were definitely on top of it. Just the games let you down. I can see where you're going with that. So we'll break that down. Also, need to kind of go back and look. I was just glancing here. I've got it all on one sheet at our over-unders for the season and where we kind of stand on this. Kind of interesting here as we hit the halfway point. We'll get into that. But kind of your thoughts, because here's where I thought the Kentucky game mattered. Now you look at the schedule, and you mentioned Texas A&M. I don't care if they're playing their 5-star freshman quarterback who's never played a snap outside of College Station. I don't care that Florida right now, and Florida plays LSU. We won't pick that game, but that's a very interesting game we'll talk about in the next hour. But Florida's scuffling along. Missouri is keeping games close. Last week they lose another heartbreaker. They lose a close one to Florida. I don't know what they're going to look like by the time they get to Columbia, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt is a winnable game. So all I've said is the next 4 actually shape up for you to kind of move the program forward, even if you're not beating anybody that's the high-powered program. Now, after that, Tennessee, Clemson, that's going to be entirely different. But that was what the Kentucky game meant to me, was South Carolina now has a chance to surpass that 6.5 win total and maybe have done it by the first weekend in November.
Yeah, my opinion hasn't changed on Missouri. They played great against Georgia, but that's a game South Carolina has to win at this point, especially at home. You got to beat them, and you got to beat Vanderbilt. That'll get you your bowl game. And then as a South Carolina fan, you've got to love the opportunity here with Florida and A&M to get you to 7 and have an opportunity to go into a bowl and improve on last year's record, or to get to 8 and 8 in year 2 would be just outstanding. And that was on the high end of what should have been and mostly was predicted from South Carolina fans this year. And it's right there in front of you. You love having A&M at home off a bye week. That's going to be a sellout. It's going to be a really electric crowd. And it's not going to be A&M's not one of those teams that's going to light you up early and take all the air out of the stadium. That's not who they are. So you'd love the opportunity there. If South Carolina can come, get a good week of preparation, get healthy, that's the other thing. They need to be healthy. Alex Huntley needs to be healthy for this game. The defensive line needs to be ready to go. If that's the case, and you can beat Texas A&M, I mean, you're almost playing with house money at that point, because if you can beat Texas A&M, you're certainly capable of beating Missouri and Vanderbilt. And at that point, you love the opportunity against Florida because Florida is a very incomplete team right now as well. Anthony Richardson is dazzling at times, but he's awfully inconsistent. And we've come a long way from that Utah game where we said he might be the number 1 overall pick to there's no shot he should put his name in the draft this year.
No, you're right about that. It's going to be interesting. Again, it's a week by week. Things change. Things can change here. They can change for South Carolina. They can change for those other ball clubs. But as you sit here, Texas A&M on a bye week, South Carolina on a bye week, you see what Missouri is right now. And again, I think the thing to continue to point out is we can be very positive about those games and talk about South Carolina in a very positive light and what they could do that would be very exciting. They also could do things that are very negative. That's the other side. Like I could see South Carolina being 4-0 after these next 4 games. I think that's reasonable. I also could see South Carolina being 1-3 after these next 4 games. That also that while it would stink, I could see that happening, and that's kind of the part here. We'll see. We'll talk more about this as we kind of continue to go on. We'll get back into our picks. I'm trying to add it up. I think it's turning into quite a very close pick'em contest as we are almost halfway through the season here. We'll get into that in the next hour. We got to pick. I've got several good games for us here. Michigan at Penn State at Michigan, Alabama at Tennessee, Southern Cal at Utah, Clemson at Florida State, and Oklahoma State at TCU. Should be a great weekend, and we'll get into that more with Patrick as we continue on. You're listening to Patrick Perret, Bill Gunner, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
277 southbound, still a May.
All right, let me see here. So the record, let's see, the first 2 weeks I went 3-3. So that's 6. Then week 3 was my big one. So 6-6. Then I went to 11-7. 11-7, 14-10. 14, then 16-14. 16-14, and then 20-16. So I'm 20-16 on the season. Patrick went 4-2 last week. Oh, but you had that another ugly 1-5 week in week 5. So 5-7, 7-11, 8-16, 12-18, 12-18, and then
16 and
I got you 12-18, 15-21. Is that right?
16-20. So 4-2.
Okay.
We have the same record, just inversed.
Gotcha. Okay. Is that right?
12 plus 4 is 16.
Well, no, I was counting the other way. I was going up from week 6. I'll tell you the other thing I was doing is I was also at one point giving us points. 1 point for the 5 games we picked, 2 points for your lock of the week.
Well, that's got to remain consistent if we're doing that.
We'll just do it by picks right now. That's what we've always done. I just was trying to – if I could remember to send it to JC and Jamie, it would be easier. Let's see, 7. I got you 7, 8, 10, 11. Yeah, I got you at 15-21.
Okay.
I got my sheet here. And honestly, the next hour, like I said, it wouldn't be bad to go back over the over-unders. Like Clemson,
Over.
I picked under on 10.5, and I think they're going to hit the over now.
Yep.
Arkansas, I took the under of 7.5. That one's getting closer. Florida, we both took the under. LSU, you're under. You took over. We both took over.
Yeah, we both took over in LSU. We thought LSU.
Your
was
Miami
gonna be,
under 8.5 looks very strong.
Yeah. Well,
your Michigan State under 7.5 looks really strong. My under on Oklahoma looks good. Your Texas,
my Texas over looks good.
I got you with an under.
Oh, did I pick under? Damn.
Yeah.
What was the number?
8.5.
8.5. Shoot. I wonder why I did that, because I'm a Sark guy.
Probably the schedule. Bama. Let's see. You took Oklahoma over. I mean,
that's flipped. They're so much better than Oklahoma. Is there a quarterback in college football, assuming Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Will Levis go pro, is there a quarterback you'd rather have than Quinn Ewers for next year?
You said Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams, Stroud, and Bryce Young?
No, Caleb Williams can't go pro.
He can't?
No.
Okay. Well, then would you say Caleb Williams?
I think right now Quinn Ewers is playing better than Caleb Williams. I don't know. That's the question. Quinn Ewers is a baller. Like, all that hype was real, and it has not taken long to notice that.
Well, and there was that article in The Athletic about did Arch Manning. Of course, the way it could work, Quinn Ewers could go pro after next year, and you would assume he may.
Yeah. Not this. Yeah, next year. I think he'll go into next year as the number one prospect.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I did just drop too at 52 minutes.
Oh, so he dropped you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because I am keeping a log, so appreciate you telling me. All right, cool. Thanks.
Final segment of the second hour. Patrick Perret will take a quick hiatus and then be back. We were going over our pick'em record. I am 20-16 on the season. Patrick's 15-21. So got a little bit of a lead on him at this point in time. We'll continue to make some picks coming up in the next hour. Patrick off air on the live stream. He's all in on Quinn Ewers. You're going with Quinn Ewers maybe as the top quarterback prospect in the country next year, 2023.
It's interesting because last year we had that bad quarterback class with Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis and all them. This year it's supposed to be better with Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. But if you offered me Quinn Ewers and Caleb Williams or C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, I'm taking the young guys. Caleb Williams and Quinn Ewers are going to be number 1 and 2 in 2 years. And I think Quinn Ewers, he has been just killing it. He is a stud. The ball comes out of his hand different than everybody else's. He should go into next year as the number 1 quarterback prospect and probably the number 1 quarterback college football too. Texas got an O-line. They've got receivers. Bijan will be gone, but Texas might be back. Texas is way more back than they were with Sam Ehlinger. I mean,
that last part threw me with Sam Ehlinger. Yeah, I forget the 12-year run of.
That was the last time we had to legitimately ask the question: is Texas back? When they beat Georgia, and Sam Ehlinger did the "I'm back" in the post game.
Yeah,
that was when the offseason. The question actually was: is Texas truly back? The answer was clearly no. I think this time they might be. I mean, they slaughtered Oklahoma. That was unbelievable. And Oklahoma's bad right now, yes, but holy cow, that was a rivalry game, and Oklahoma just was never in it for a second.
Well, again, you talk about quarterback problems and what could happen to your quarterback room, and obviously the loss of Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler to Oklahoma. Davis Bevel, the former Greenville High quarterback who went to Pittsburgh and then transferred down to Oklahoma. They couldn't throw the ball. There's a part of it, Brent Venables still, his defense shouldn't give up 49 points, but I was we'll see. They've got to get a quarterback. That to me is a perfect example of what could happen in the transfer era when you have 2 5-star elite quarterbacks and both of them bolt out on you, and then your prize transfer portal guy, Dylan Gabriel, gets injured and not able to play. So we'll continue talking about.
Venables needs some guys that can play defense too. I mean, their defense is horrible.
Yeah, there's a lot to go. They're on the road tomorrow at Kansas, noon game. Keeping on that, Kansas still ranked. They got through it. Fun seeing game day there. We'll catch up with Patrick coming up in the next hour. We'll make some picks. He's got a lot more he needs to get into, including is Tom Brady, the most protected player in all of sports after last week. Yeah, let him talk about that. It's the early game. I want to 107.5 the game.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station, sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
All right, get yourself a little coffee, take a little break, and we'll see you here shortly.
See you in about 15 minutes.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Let's see. Let's get these on paper real quick, or on Excel.
It's time for your chance to win $100 and qualify for the $25,000 grand prize in our $25,000 signing bonus contest.
FAST. FAST. Like fast money. FAST. The word is fast. FAST.
LoveChevy.com. Find new roads. Football Friday. And the Parker Mountain tomorrow. on your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game. With Bill
Yeah.
And Jen Jensen.
Decorating the studio at 6:37 in the morning. You're listening to Bill Gutter and Jen Jensen. If you're watching on the live stream, you're seeing us entertain ourselves by trying to move a flag around and get it stuck to the wall, and that led to.
But then the right was down a little bit. It's like you gotta get it level.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
You're not going to believe this.
1075
He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator.
The Game.
Rolling along on your football Friday morning, October the 14th. Just missing Friday the 13th by a day. Of course, that would be perfect for Halloween. I believe the new movie Halloween Ends. Jamie Lee Curtis back to take on Michael Myers. One of them has to go away, right? Like, Jen, have you ever gotten into the Halloween movies? Halloween?
No.
The
No.
Michael Myers?
I really haven't. I did the Jason movies
Yeah, I never got into that.
and a little bit, and then that was more like, you do that. You play those old movies like at a slumber party or something to freak each other out, but for me to sit and watch it, no.
I don't know if people know this. I was told this last night, but the guy who's playing Michael Myers, or they're calling it The Shape, I'm not sure. James Jude Courtney went to school at the University of South Carolina.
Really?
Yep. He is from Ohio. He's 65 years old, but he is a South Carolina graduate. He is an American actor, stunt double, stunt performer, and he is playing. He's actually played Michael Myers in the 2018 film, and will be playing it. He played it. He's playing it again, I guess, in this one. So if you didn't know that, there is a connection. He is from the University of South Carolina. James Jude Courtney, who is again playing Michael Myers, or whatever we're calling him now, The Shape. I'm not sure. He's played him in this is the third one. He's played him in Halloween in 2018, and then played him in 2021's Halloween Kills, and then is playing him in Halloween Ends. So yeah, how about that?
I love that local connection. That's kind of fun. Now, see the character Michael Myers. Wouldn't that have been cool if Mike Myers had played that?
That would have been pretty cool. Way to ruin the. Let's transition to a man who knows all about good transitions and great football. Chris Dearing joining us now. It's the CNT Foundation's high school highlights of the week, and we continue to roll along. Chris, it is the season is, before you know it's going to be playoffs. But we've got another great weekend of high school football throughout the Midlands. The weather is turning. It's going to be fantastic. Where are you heading, or are you heading somewhere tonight? I saw a tweet that you were boarding a plane a while back, and so I don't know if you're in town or not tonight.
I'm actually not in town tonight. I'm in St. Louis for a family thing. I actually might take a football game in tomorrow afternoon here in St. Louis.
Oh.
So one of my daughter's getting married. I have the engagement party on Saturday, and her fiance, his nephew, plays football here in St. Louis, and we might go check out that game before the party tomorrow night.
Oh, good deal.
What a great weekend.
Yeah, congratulations there on that. So a big weekend to you. So high school football will somehow move on without you this weekend, but you're still well aware of everything going on, and it should be a really good one. Let's start right here, not far from where I sit, over at Fort Knox. Battle of local teams. The Dreer Blue Devils taking on the Brooklyn KC Bearcats. Dreer and Brooklyn KC, two well-known schools, I guess you would say. So when these two get together, it's kind of an old school Columbia showdown.
Yeah, and we talked about Brooklyn KC earlier in the year and how maybe they weren't playing up to what we thought they would be this year, but since region plays started, they've looked a lot better. They played a really tough out of conference, out of region schedule with Northwestern and some really big 5A schools on there. And they had a situation a couple weeks ago. Their quarterback was out a week, and they ran the football, and really and truly since that game, Bill, they have really turned into a running football team, and they hardly hardly throw the ball. I think they've attempted less than 10 passes since that game. And so they found something that works. They got a lot of talent on that team. Ezekiel Mays is a kid that we hadn't talked much about here, but super talented kid, plays both ways for BC. He sort of spearheaded that thing. And then another running back they have is Deshaun Washington. He's been really good this year. So that BC's just lining up and running it right at people and pounding them right now, and it seems to be working. And you know, we talked about Dreher a little bit early in the season. Corey Jenkins, back at his alma mater, former South Carolina player, and he had a rebuilding job to do. And you know, he's got some wins, and I think they're sitting. You know, they're right there in region play. I think they're 1-1 or maybe 1-2 in region, and you know, chance to make the playoffs for that Dreher team, and that'll be good for Corey Jenkins' first year. But it's gonna be a tall task tonight over at Brooklyn Casey, and that might be a game if BC's running the ball like they have been, and Dreher keeps it on the ground a little bit. That game might be over by 9:30.
Yeah, it would be maybe the under in that game if you're so inclined to do so. If they get the ball, if they start running it there. Let's stay in the Midlands. 5A, 5A matchup tonight out at Dutch Fork. Chapin makes the short trip over to take on Tom Knotts and the Silver Foxes.
Yeah, we've talked a lot this year about maybe some people in that region closing the gap on Dutch Fork, and you know, I don't know if Tom Knotts listens to this show every Friday, but he gets word back on everything that's said about him. I've known Tom long enough to know this. He uses it as motivation. And, you know, last week they beat White Knoll 52-0 and kicked a field goal on the final play of the game. So he's at the proof of point. They have their quarterback back. Alan Appler's back, and that's what they needed to stabilize the quarterback position a little bit. And it looks like that's happened. Jarvis Green is healthy. You know, Shrine Bowl pick this past week. Really good football player. We've talked about him for 3 years now. I like Jarvis Green a lot. Great young man as well. So Chapin's got a tall task going across the highway there to play Dutch Fork. I don't know if they've ever beaten Dutch Fork. And if they get that tonight, it'll be something special for those kids. But that's going to be a tall task for them. Dutch Fork is ready to, I think, get things in gear and you know, head towards the playoffs. And, you know, we talked about that defense a lot this year. I saw Chandler Perry this week committed to Charleston Southern. I think that's an absolute steal for Charleston Southern. He's one of my favorite defensive players to watch in the Midlands. And then Landon Danley, the safety for Dutch Fork, he committed to Virginia earlier this week. So a couple guys in that defense making their college choices this week.
Fun one over in 4A tonight. Westwood hosting Ridgeview. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, I saw Ridgeview last week for the first time. They did not disappoint. They defeated Irmo 40-37 in overtime. Probably the best game I've seen so far this year. Man, that Ridgeview team's got playmakers, Bill. Donald Tomlin's come in. He's taken over the quarterback job. He's played very well, and he's got Zion Agnew, another Shrine Bowl selection at wide receiver, and Adonis McDaniel, who transferred over from AC Flora in the off season. He's really playing well right now. He had about 150 yards receiving last week and ran a kickoff back for a touchdown. So they're really explosive. That was the most points their defense has given up this year, so I was a little bit surprised by that. They hadn't given up over 15 in any game going into last week, but Irmo played well and took them right down to the wire. You know, Westwood's still looking for some wins to try to get into the playoffs. They've not played that well. They do have a kid that made the Shrine Bowl as well, Noah Jennings. He's been selected as a wide receiver. So a lot of skill position guys that are really good on that field tonight. So that should be an entertaining game as well.
The one that confuses me because they were never a rival of mine. Of course, I don't understand White Knoll or River Bluff. My rival was Irmo, and Lexington still, I guess, considers Irmo a rival, but they'll take on the second rival, or I don't know, the former rival, White Knoll tonight. Lexington White Knoll should be a really fun one there. That game over at White Knoll High School.
Yeah, that's a big one for a couple reasons. If Lexington can win this one, they're guaranteed at least second place in the region and a home playoff game. Um, and if they win, it's sort of shaping up to maybe have a showdown with Dutch Fork in 2 weeks for that region title. White Knoll, they started out 6-0 and they've lost two in a row, lost a little bit of steam. So if they don't win tonight, they're playing Chapin next week for a playoff spot. I mean, as simple as that. So a lot riding on that game tonight. We've talked about Jonah Norris. Really surprised he did not make the Shrine Bowl. Cooper Johns, the running back over at River Bluff as well. Both of those guys are over 1,400 yards on the season, and neither one of them got a Shrine Bowl sniff. So a little bit shocking there. I probably got to give Lexington denied a little bit on this one. I really like Caden Mines, the quarterback. He's just a junior and has been playing really well. White Knoll's got probably their biggest thing in the two losses to River Bluff and Dutch Fork has been they've turned the football over. And if they do that tonight, it's going to be another long night for Timberwolves.
Let's give a little bit of love to some schools that we don't necessarily always talk about. A fun one down at Silver Bluff. Saluda High School travels to Silver Bluff tonight. And your thoughts on that one?
Well, we touched on Saluda last week a little bit. They were number one in Class 2A, playing Strong Thurman, and they ended up losing that game 6-3. So Strong Thurman knocked off Saluda. We moved Oceanside Collegiate in our poll back up to number one. But this Saluda team's good. I mean, they're really good defensively. And they got Silver Bluff, like you say, tonight. And they got a rebound because Silver Bluff is historically really good. And I don't think it's much changed this year. So Saluda's got to get a win tonight to maybe secure a first or at least one home playoff game.
Let's go. I know we can be heard up in Greenwood, and Greenwood will host Westside tonight. Your thoughts on Greenwood? I'm familiar with Greenwood. They've turned out a ton of great athletes. DJ Swearinger, one that instantly comes to mind, and I believe Robert Brooks, I think is, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Robert Brooks was there as well, and then many others. Greenwood hosting Westwood tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right on Brooks. I think he's from Greenwood as well. I mean, I tell you, and this goes way back a couple of long. You're talking about history. This has probably been 20 years ago. I went and covered something at Greenwood where there was a Hall of Fame. They are inducted into the team that won the state championship, and they'd won it in like the last second play, and they recreated the play at halftime. It was pretty cool. And those guys, when I went up there, took really good care of me. So I'm sort of a Greenwood fan because of that night. But they playing our buddy Scott Early that was at Lexington a number of years back. He's got that West Side team playing really well. That's a really good, and statewide matchups. That's a really good one. That game will probably determine a lot in that region as well. Don't have the standings of that one right in front of me, but that's a really good game. I know West Side is right on the fringe of a top 10 team all season, and Greenwood's played a tough schedule as well, and they're battle tested, so that's gonna be a good game in Greenwood tonight.
Let's continue on a few more here. I was trying to find a few more that schools just to give a little bit of love that we don't normally talk about. Local matchup tonight. Again, two storied schools, Eau Claire and Keenan. They'll hook up over at Keenan High School.
Well, that Keenan team, we have not talked about them much, and their quarterback O'Neal Hernandez has been really good this year. They're 2-1 in the region, and their only loss is to Fairfield Central. They'll get Gray Collegiate here in a couple weeks, and that'll be a big game whenever they play them. That will be for a region title when that happens, I think. Eau Claire struggled a little bit. They do have a coach that's been there now for a couple of years, and they got to get numbers in that program. And if he can get the numbers built back up, a long time ago, Eau Claire was really a power in the Columbia area, and it would be nice to see some of these Richland 1 schools, get a little more money into football, and have great teams out there on the field. So, really tough challenge for Eau Claire, but I like this Keenan team. They've played really well. I might actually go see them next week. I sort of looked ahead at the schedule, what's happening next week. So I might see that Keenan team next week. So, but yeah, really, really good team, and got a chance to play for a region title here in a couple weeks.
Last one before we get you out of here. AC Florida tonight. Again, not far from where I'm sitting. They will host Irmo. Thoughts on that one?
Well, so like I said earlier, Irmo lost to Ridgeview last week, and their backs are sort of against the wall. They're 0-2 in the region. So they got to start winning some games to secure a playoff spot. But we've talked about AC Flora all year, man. I really like that team. Markel Townsend at running back, another guy that didn't get any Shrine Bowl. I'm sure he got looks, but didn't get selected to the Shrine Bowl, which a little bit surprised again. And Carew Bates have been at quarterback. That's just been a good football team from day one, but they're playing a hungry Irmo team tonight. And, last year Irmo beat them on the last minute touchdown, and they might have to pull that out again to get their playoff stuff right. I will tell you, AJ Brand, a sophomore quarterback at Irmo, saw him for the first time last week, other than, just huddle highlights, and really impressed with Brand. He's gotten a good bit taller since I saw him last, and very poised. I think he ran for right at 80 or 90 yards last week and threw for about 170. So that's a tough task for that AC Florida defense. So if they have a weakness, I think it's probably in the back seven on defense. And if Brand gets rolling, everybody really has a chance tonight.
Chris, enjoy your weekend, man. Congratulations to you and the family. Sounds like a fantastic weekend, and look forward to catching up with you next week.
Sounds perfect. You guys have a great weekend, and I look forward to getting back to Columbia on Sunday.
Okay, buddy. Enjoy your weekend. Yeah, Chris out there in St. Louis for her family, and awesome time. Glad he joins us each and every week. That is the high school highlights of the week, sponsored by CNT Foundations, your repair and crawl space experts. Give them a phone call, 843-405-7022. They stand apart from other Columbia Foundation repair experts because they value customer service satisfaction over sales volume. Give them a phone call. Find out what CNT Foundations can do for you. 843-405-7022. CNT Foundations, the official sponsor of the high school highlights of the week with Chris Dearing. We'll come back. We'll get back to Patrick Perret, and we'll make some picks. That's right. It's time for picks. The way I'm emphasizing pick, boy, it's just been a Friends episode, the one with him and where he's having to emphasize the P's and he's spitting all over the other actor before.
Oh yeah, right before Monica and Chandler's wedding. Yeah,
picks in my pack.
Yeah, good times there, and we're we're all about the love sometimes and helping people's marriage and stuff like that. We did have Jonathan call. He wanted to wish his wife Michelle a happy birthday. So I said, It's Friday. We could do that today. So
all right.
Anyway, I think they're heading out to breakfast, and big time listener. So just doesn't call as much.
That is a good husband making his,
good?
that my good friends is how you make your wife listen to sports talk radio, and a guy who can be very mean, can be very annoying. The guy that is Jonathan, that is brilliant. Why, honey? I want you to listen to this. Happy birthday, Michelle.
There you go.
Congratulations. And now you can turn the channel. You can make Jonathan turn the channel. 803-404-6100. Yeah, he can buy you breakfast, and now you can officially turn the channel. He has made you listen to sports long enough. Have a great birthday, Michelle. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, and the new 107.5 The Game app.
A great husband right there, calling in to wish his wife a birthday. Let me tell you about another great family, Roy and Dana Finley with AAA Heating and Air. They've been taking care of the Midlands, taking care of customers just like you and I, making sure your HVAC units are working properly. With winter just around the corner, you want to make sure that HVAC system is working. So if you need a little maintenance package, give AAA Heating and Air a call today. Get them out to your house. Just do a little inspection. Make sure everything is ready to work for the winter. Trust me, you don't want to wake up on a Saturday morning after a nice long work week to a freezing home because the heating and air unit went out. That can really be a pain for the weekend. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Get them out for a little maintenance. 803-677-1500. And if you need a new heating and air unit, AAA Heating and Air has got the best deal ever going on. They must clear out their warehouse right now to make room for new inventory because of government regulations starting in 2023. No deals will be turned down, and they guarantee financing. So regardless of your credit score, they guarantee financing. Call today, 803-677-1500. You can have a new HVAC system in your home as early as tomorrow if you just give them a phone call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you, 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And really, fairly decent news. We do have one incident to let you know about. That's I-77 southbound before Barrow Road versus a car versus deer incident. But aside from that, other accidents have been cleared. Other major slowdowns cleared as well. So that's great. Sunny and pleasant, 75 today, 81 tomorrow. Right now, 58 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Science with CBS Sports Minute. Okay, class, hands on buzzers. What do Cleveland's Jacoby Brissett, Miami's Skylar Thompson, Cincinnati's Joe Burrow, Arizona's Kyler Murray, and Indianapolis's Matt Ryan all have in common? If you answered, all have thrown back-breaking interceptions at inopportune times, you are correct. Each quarterback.
All right. Do a little stretching here. Oh.
I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping. One pill, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. Bring my dog to your PJ Moses. So you have to drive 300 miles to his cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's a sport. But you know what they say, 4 times the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. Lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, plus nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Tissues? Oh, good, because I'm quiet. Get the right car at the right price. eBay Motors. Let's ride. Sponsored by Midland Air Service Experts. Where's the street up? There's an expert for that. Let your local heating experts and Midland Air Service Experts keep you warm with $50 off any first repair. Call 866 Experts. See website for licensed dealers. JT's Jeep Ram has the largest inventory around. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT and get 0.9% finance. Or even creditors in your credit. Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the 2023 Ram with you for his dream. Get 0.9% finance. Let JT get you approved. JT's Jeep Ram license. JT'sJeep.com.
All right.
So are you going to do like one more football talk here and kind of a short segment, do a break, and then come back in and have your like a normal like quick segment?
I'm going to go ahead and do Patrick. We'll go ahead and start doing some picks here. We'll go ahead. Kind of tie it in with talking about the weekend, but that way that gives us even if we only do 2 picks here and do 3 next instead of rushing them on the final break or the final segment. Yep. Yeah, it's not been a good 2 hours for the clocks.
Live from the Heritage Chevrolet Studio. 107.5 Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Heritage Chevrolet makes you.
8:27 on a Friday morning, a football Friday morning, and you could also call it a fair Friday morning. The South Carolina State Fair in town. No South Carolina football game, so a great weekend to get out and enjoy that. We do have a poll question up on the Twitter account at Will, W-I-L, Gunter, G-U-N-T-E-R. Which is better, the elephant ear or the funnel cake, or are they the same item? Patrick, you went funnel cake. Jen, I think, has gone funnel cake. I'll probably side with you two on this. We'll be a team. We'll be a family on this one and just go funnel cake.
Oh,
Yeah, you like the closeness of the family environment there. Yeah.
Breaks me too.
Funnel cake leading the way, 37% of the vote. They are the same, has 34% of the vote at this point, and elephant ear, which is 29%.
Which on Twitter we have discovered, without getting into too much detail, but we have learned a little bit more that yes, they are indeed different. We've seen pictures, we've seen descriptions. So
Yes, there's been a complete breakdown. Patrick, I don't know if you heard me give this little note. The Halloween Ends movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, and I guess Michael Myers comes out today. Are you a Halloween fan with Michael Myers? And no, really?
I've seen the original one in my high school film studies class, and I've never watched another one.
Oh, well, you're the Halloween with with Jamie Lee Curtis are the good ones. The ones where they started doing spinoffs and all kinds of stuff are questionable.
I don't watch scary movies ever. This year I've done it. I've made a exert effort to get into the Halloween spirit because I don't like Halloween. So this year I've watched all the Conjuring movies.
Ooh.
I've been watching Dahmer. Dahmer's creepy. That's not Halloween, but it's spooking me out more than horror movies are.
I've heard that
I'm watching it in like 15-minute increments.
Yeah, I've heard that I don't want to say it's not a documentary, but kind of the miniseries is pretty intense. Yeah, maybe I'll stay away from that. No, I was pointing out the guy who's playing Michael Myers, James Jude Courtney, is a South Carolina graduated from the University of South Carolina in 1981. So who knows? Maybe we'll see if we can track him down, get him on Jen by the end of. Maybe he'd be willing to come on his hometown. He's from Garfield Heights, Ohio, but maybe he'd be willing to come on.
What isn't Michael Myers like not really in the movie? Where he's like wearing a mask and doesn't have lines.
Well, yeah, he never has a line. Yeah, all he does, all this guy is doing is actually stalking around in a mask and slashing
walking
people.
around with a knife in his hand.
Yeah, pretty much. No lines. It's probably the greatest movie role ever. That or potentially Tom Hanks in Castaway, where all he had to do was talk to a volleyball for 3.5 hours. It was fantastic. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this. Well, let's start on just some of these picks here that we have. We'll spread this out over the next 26 minutes of the program. Maybe the one that's least interesting to everybody, but is a top 15 showdown, Patrick. And in a Big 12 that is trying to reinvent itself, Texas and Oklahoma are off to the SEC in a few years. The Big 12 is trying to reinvent itself, and they're having some really fun, good games. They are having last week, Kansas, TCU was really neat. Now TCU gets Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State plus 3.5 in this game. Mike Gundy's ball team just rolling along. They have become a staple of a top 15 team.
I'll take Oklahoma State. I believe in them. I think this is going to be a really, really good game. I would have taken the underdog on either side of this thing. So 3.5, it's through a key number. I think TCU is going to be able to score a ton of points. Oklahoma State's defense is strong. So I'm just going with the underdog here because I think this is pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these two teams and plus 3.5. I'm with you. I'm going to go Oklahoma State in this game because of the hook, the plus 3.5. I do think TCU wins the game. They have been very good so far this season. Max Duggan, the quarterback there for TCU, is a big dude. I was listening to them talk about him last week. 14 touchdowns, 1 interception on the season. He's completed 73% of his passes for 1,300 yards. He is a kid who is really making things happen. He can also beat you with his legs a little bit. I lean toward TCU pulling this game out, but the half point there is why I side with Oklahoma State. Let's go with the one other one that I'm not sure people are particularly thrilled about. Number 20 Utah hosting number 7 Southern Cal. That's an 8:00 game on Fox. Southern Cal a 3.5 point underdog. Patrick, Utah had that loss to Florida. They also had that loss to UCLA. but yet they're the favorite at Rice Eccles on Saturday night, 8 o'clock again. Fox. Southern Cal rolls in with Caleb Williams. Where are you going?
This one is so tough. I wish that Southern Cal was a favorite because they are a top 10 team, and I could just say that Utah has this going to be an emotional game for them. They're doing the helmets with the drawings of the two players that passed away from their program the last couple years, and I want to say that it would be like an emotional underdog victory for Utah. But I think Southern Cal is the better team coming in here, and I'll take the hook on this one too. Like, I'll just use the same rationale for the last one, that I think Southern Cal is the better team. I think Utah is perfectly capable of winning the game. And if there was any semblance of them being the underdog or people not expecting it to happen, then I would love to pick them. But I just have to go against my instincts and say that the better team is going to go in there and win. Because this is always the letdown spot for Southern Cal teams, it feels like. It's always Utah. So I'm just going to go against history here a little bit and say Southern Cal plus the 3.5. Maybe they lose on a dramatic field goal or something, but I can totally see them winning the game too.
I'm going Utah here. The point spread makes me think that something is kind of funny and fishy. And look, Utah at home.
Jordan Addison's banged up.
Remember what happened last year? Oregon went into Utah on a late in November and got demolished 38-7 in that game, and Utah just took them to the woodshed. This will be a 5 o'clock, I guess, kickoff out there, so it's not technically a night game, but this is one where you got Southern Cal coming in. Southern Cal's not been great on the road. Remember, they needed all they had in the tank to knock off Oregon State up in Corvallis. They did kind of handle Stanford earlier in the year on the road, 41-28. Give me Utah to pull the upset and knock Southern Cal from the ranks of the unbeaten. We'll come back. Michigan, Penn State, Alabama, Tennessee, and Clemson, Florida State. We'll give a little bit more time to those games as well as our lock of the week. You're listening to Patrick Perret, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Talking a lot about the fair and getting out, walking around, doing some people seeing, enjoying some great food, maybe going and checking out the animals there, maybe riding a few rides. But if you've been suffering from arthritis, you've had issues with your joints, then it's time to call QC Kinetics, because you need to get back to living the lifestyle you want to live. You want to be able to move around, be social, maybe take some nice evening walks with your significant other. And again, if you've had issues with joints, if you've had problems with your ankles, your knees, your back, then it's time to get in touch with QC Kinetics and check out their new regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue. If you've been told that surgery or pain medications or those awful steroid shots are the direction to go, don't listen. QC Kinetics has a cutting-edge new way of dealing with pain. Call them today for a free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Learn how regenerative medicine can give you your life back by calling today for that free consultation. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Blythewood Road at Wilson Road, we have a report of an accident there. Also, I-20 eastbound just after Spears Creek Church Road. That would be about exit 82. Car versus deer incident, I-77 southbound just before Faro Road. And
Patrick, how much of Dahmer have you been able to watch?
I'm on episode 6.
How many episodes is it?
10. It's a lot.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings ends today.
Oh,
Shame.
the whatever, the Quest of the Rings or Ring of the
Rings of
Power.
Power. Yeah, Rings of Power. And then we only got 2 more weeks of House of the Dragon as well.
I've heard that's been pretty good.
It's been amazing.
Some good reviews.
Yeah, I mean it's every bit as good as Game of Thrones has been.
Really?
Yeah.
The only thing is, what I've read that people don't like is it's just centered around one family and not all the kingdoms.
Yeah. It's all about the Targaryens. It's
right.
Daenerys's great grandparents.
Yeah.
270 years before Game of Thrones.
So have you liked Rings of Power or whatever the ROP is?
Yeah. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's from what I've read, it's very inaccurate, but it's entertaining. I love Lord of the Rings and everything that goes along with it, so we've enjoyed it. Oh yeah, Dahmer should have been called many, many times. Yeah, the show is so dark, so creepy. He's just such a weird guy.
Well, I mean, I think that goes without saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but not all I don't know, not all serial killers are the same. This guy just buys a mannequin and lays in bed with it, and
He's not. What's the? It wasn't Dahmer. What was the one? Oh, Ted Bundy that was smart and represented himself.
Yeah. Yeah, Zac Efron played him in a Netflix movie.
Yeah, Bundy. I think it was called Bundy, wasn't it?
The Zac Efron one was called Shockingly Evil, just something and Vile. Shockingly, it was what the Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. That movie wasn't very good though. Yeah, I don't know. People have been hating on Rings of Power. I have seen that as well. I don't know. I've enjoyed it. I'm with you. It's just fun to see that world again. There's a lot that goes into it. We back.
$8:40 on your Friday morning. Patrick Perret, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, as we continue through making some football picks, looking ahead to the weekend that will be. Trying to also get to a great NFL showdown, Patrick. See if we've got time to get your breakdown of Bills Chiefs this coming weekend. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Again, should be a fantastic weekend of sports across the board. So let's go into what I consider to be the 2 big games. And then even though Clemson is not, or Florida State is not ranked, Clemson and Florida State on Saturday. But let's start in the Big Ten. We've already picked Oklahoma State and TCU out of the Big 12. We both took Oklahoma State. We picked Southern Cal and Utah. Southern Cal plus 3.5 out of the Pac-12. I took Utah. Patrick took Southern Cal. So now we go to the Big Ten. Michigan and Penn State, Patrick. And this is one, Michigan has got it rolling, but they haven't really played anybody. Penn State, on the other hand, has played less than anybody. I don't, unless you want to count Auburn, which I don't. I don't know what Penn State is. They're number 10 in the country. Your take on this game and where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams are good. I don't think either team is elite. I think Michigan has skated by. The only decent team they played is Maryland, and they almost lost that game and maybe deserved to lose that game. They got the the benefit of a couple really lucky calls and an opening kickoff off of somebody's face mask. So I don't think they're all that good. I think their offensive line is really good. I think J.J. McCarthy limits what they can be, but they can run the football. Both teams can run the football. Both teams have very good running backs. Blake Corum's an NFL guy for Michigan, and Nick Singleton, the freshman for Penn State, is an absolute stud. I think both quarterbacks are very limited, and both defenses can play. There's some studs on Michigan's defense. Mozzie Smith up front, the freakiest guy in college football, according to Bruce Feldman. And Penn State's got a really good secondary led by Joey Porter Jr., and then Johnny Dixon's been playing well for Penn State over there too. So I think it's fairly evenly matched. What was the number on this?
It's 7, so I moved it down to 6.5.
It's Michigan's favored by 6.5.
Michigan by 6.5.
I'll just take Penn State because I think it's going to be close. I would think that the under of 51 looks pretty good. I don't think there's going to be a ton of scoring. So I will take this to be just a close game.
Okay. See, I'm going to go opposite. I think Michigan, I'm not impressed with Penn State. 5-0 in the season. The only real challenge they've gotten was from Purdue in that opener, and they probably should have lost on the road to the Boilermakers. After that, it's been Ohio, Auburn, Central Michigan, and Northwestern. They've done what they were supposed to. They won those games convincingly, but they're still giving up 341 yards per game. Michigan, probably aided by playing an awful Iowa offense, is only giving up 247 yards per game. I think Michigan slows down Sean Clifford enough. Nicholas Singleton is not able to really run the ball. I think J.J. McCarthy, who's banged up a little bit, but has 9 touchdowns on the year and just 1 interception, and Blake Corum get the job done. Corum, one of the nation's leaders in rushing. He might be the nation's leader. He's right up there at it. If not, he said he's in the top 3. If he's not at the top, 118 carries on the year, 735 yards, 11 touchdowns. Give me Michigan in that one. So I'm going to go Michigan minus the 6.5, and you've got Penn State. Let's go to that Clemson-Florida State game there. Clemson minus 3.5. Line a little funny on that thing. They go down to Tallahassee. Florida State does get one of their key guys back this weekend. Where are you going, Clemson and Florida State?
Something about the name Florida State gets people in a tizzy, I guess. Clemson's more than 3.5 points better than Florida State right now. Clemson's more than 3.5 points better than everyone in the ACC right now. So I will take Clemson. I think this is pretty easy. If they were playing, North Carolina with the same roster, I don't know if it's 3.5 points.
This is strange to me. The line is strange. Clemson is supposed to have all of their defensive linemen. Very rarely, I can't remember this statistic that was given, I believe, before last week, but I can't remember the exact statistic on this great defensive line for Clemson and how I think it's 4 guys that they were counting on have not played together, but a limited number of snaps. It was on College Game Day, and I was kind of doing something. I just heard it. But they're supposed to have everybody healthy. I don't know how Florida State scores, but it makes me wonder, what does Vegas see here? I'm going to take a chance. I've been able to hit some of these this year. Give me Florida State. I think Florida State at home pulls the upset on Saturday night and takes down Clemson. Sure, you can call it a homer pick. I don't know. I'm with you. I don't understand the line. I'm going to lean toward somebody knowing something, and I'm going to take the Seminoles to pull off a huge victory Saturday night in Tallahassee. Let me say, if they don't pull out the victory, Clemson beats them by 30. It's one of those things where Florida State either wins or they get mauled. There's no in between. Clemson doesn't kick a field goal to win this thing. They either beat the brakes off Florida State or Florida State pulls out the upset, one of the two. We'll come back. We'll pick that Alabama-Tennessee game. That's the best one of the weekend, and we'll give our locks of the week. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Patrick Perret. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
There are a lot more options for worst tire than best tire, probably.
I have an answer that I hope none of you pick.
Ooh.
As soon as I teased that going into the last break, we immediately got.
There we go. All right.
I'm wondering how deep the group can go. All the textures seem to agree. There's also the first name that came to my head. I'm wondering if it's the first name that came to yours. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Chat in the half away. Okay, then. Jim, that was the Extra Point. 9 a.m. to noon. 107.5
Two-part question. Yeah, this is interesting. I hope that there's a controversy. I hope this quarterback controversy destroys the Cowboys from the inside. The Eagles are legit, though. I mean, I hate to say it. I didn't think Jalen Hurts could be this good. But this Dallas defense is a little bit different than everything else he's faced, so I will be intrigued to see how this goes. I hope everyone plays poorly in this game. I hope they all suck.
Education Lottery Retailer and get your ticket today. CSCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds and a story to you. If you've got a hole in your roof, we need help. And you need to call Miss T. 25-19. Renew your quarter of a century. Miss T. has established its reputation as the leader.
Yep. That team is just so well built. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are such a good 1-2. Devontae Smith running every route. AJ Brown, the big physical guy. Dallas Goedert makes things easy down the middle of the field. Their offensive line is amazing. They're just a well-built team.
Oh boy.
Will Dak take Cooper Rush's job? Or, will Cooper Rush take Dak's job? I don't know. I hope so. I think it'd be hilarious.
I guess I should find a good lock of the week. Of course, I got crushed last night by Baylor.
Thursday nights in Morgantown.
Yeah, a well-known hotbed of activity.
Did you like the space uniforms?
Yeah, I didn't watch much of that game. I mean, I was tuned into Baylor, West Virginia, because that really wasn't Baylor, West Virginia really was a good game.
Yeah, the UCF game was not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I kind of looked at it, I glanced, but
they dropped 70 on a team that is traditionally decent. Man, look at Temple's. Temple lost to Duke 30-0 to open the season. Somehow they held Rutgers to 16 points. They can't stop anybody, but they held Rutgers to 16 points.
there's actually a lot of games I kind of like.
There's 3 that I like.
Stop by, shop online today, and see why Heritage Chevrolet makes you smile. And yes, on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Final segment of the week, and then we'll be back next week and really start building up to that Texas A&M game. That's going to be a fun week next week for the Midlands here for Columbia as we get ready for Texas A&M rolling into town. Chance to snap that losing streak to the Aggies. So we'll get into that. And who are we looking out for, Jen? At Aggie Alston? Is that my son? Is my son harassing Gamecock Larry?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure who's harassing him. I think it's Aggie Austin.
Aggie
Yeah.
Alston, yeah, Patrick. It's just these people are coming out of the woodwork to call Gamecock Larry at 3:30 in the morning and harass him. Just hard life he lives.
Enough of that.
Yeah. Wildcat Earl all of a sudden has disappeared back into the deep woods of Kentucky. Now Aggie Alston has emerged from College Station. Alabama and Tennessee this weekend. Alabama 6.5-point favorite. No real word on Bryce Young. Tennessee, man, I'm buying. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, Patrick. Now, I don't know if they're going to win, but I'm going to take the plus the 6.5. 6.5 is what we're picking it at. I'm going with the Vols here. I, for whatever reason, think what I really think is that Tennessee's going to jump on them, and then all that momentum is going to be gone, and Alabama's going to have the ball at the very end, just like they have against Texas. They're going to have to make a stop or something, just like they did against Texas A&M last week. I think it'll be I'll take the 6.5. I'll take the chance there and go with Tennessee. It wouldn't shock me if the Vols pull the outright upset, but I think Alabama wins in the end. But I think that Tennessee is going to make this quite a ball game.
How many picks do we have the same right now?
Very,
it's a lot.
Very few in this week.
Is it? Because so
we're opposite. The only one we're the same on is Oklahoma State.
Okay. All right, then I'm taking Tennessee because I like Tennessee, but I felt like we were aligned on a couple of these, and I need to come back. So we need to be on the opposite end of things. But I think this is going to be a close game. It's going to be so electric there. I'm so jealous of Tennessee fans that are going to get to experience this. 3:30 game there in Eastern time. So yeah, it's just going to be amazing. A lot of high-powered offense. I think Bryce Young's going to be healthy. I think they're going to be able to score points. I think Tennessee's offense can score on any defense in the country. I'm really fired up for this game. I'm glad that we get to see a high-level Alabama game against a team that's not LSU or one of the other SEC West powers. It's time for someone else in the East to step up, and it's unfortunate that it might come at the detriment of South Carolina to an extent. Tennessee's visitor list for this weekend is nuts. They could be on a ridiculous trajectory right now, but it's good for the sport. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, honestly, you kind of hope Brent Venables doesn't make it in Oklahoma very long, and that Oklahoma comes calling for native son Josh Heupel to come home. All right, locks of the week. So just for the record, though, real quick, those games that we just picked, I have taken, Michigan minus the 6.5, Tennessee plus the 6.5, Utah minus the 3.5. I got Florida State covering and maybe with the outright win. And then I took Oklahoma State plus the 3.5. Patrick went with me on Oklahoma State and Tennessee. He is opposite. He's taking Clemson, Southern Cal, and Penn State. Where are you going with your lock of the week? You said you got a couple just like I do. So just in case we don't choose the same one, I'll let you go first.
I do like the Michigan Penn State under, but I'm not going to lock that one. I'm going to lock Kansas plus 9. I guess 9.5. Kansas is not 9 points worse than anyone in the Big 12, and Oklahoma's not 9 points better than anyone in the Big 12. So I'll take the point.
All right, I am going to go to the ACC. Patrick, you want 9.5? Is that what I need to give you real quick?
Yep.
9.5. All right, good, because I'm going to move mine down. I am going to go North Carolina over Duke. The Tar Heels minus 6.5 is where I'm going with that.
As well.
Huh?
I fully agree.
Yeah, I like the Tar Heels in that minus 6.5. They're playing well. Patrick, next week, it'll be one of the bigger games in Columbia in quite some time. I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Can't wait. This is a fun weekend. 2:30 play is loaded.
It's going to be a great weekend of football. Patrick, you have a great weekend. Jen, great work back there. Everybody to the fair. Funnel cakes and elephant ears for everybody on Jen Jensen. See you next week.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5, The Game.
I had that one on my list too. UNC minus 7.
Media Station.
Those were what was that? You wrote yours down, or were those the locks?
Yeah, I wrote down UNC. I like that number too.
Yeah, I did. I'm a fan there. I don't think Duke's very good, and I think they blow them out the water. So All right, what's the plan up there? Cooking and watching football, or is there some kind of street event?
Well, no, watching football for the 11 o'clock games, and then I think gonna have to find a bar for the 2:30 slate because there's too many good games. So we need a lot more TVs than I can provide.
There you go, buddy. All right. Well, we will see you next week. I think Tony likes coming in with you for a little bit. We'll make him talk some football. We'll join. We'll have him join us as well.
All right. See you, everybody.